Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Andrew Davis, and this is a comic hangout. I don't have a sponsor read. I'm too lazy to go find a sponsor for this episode, so we're just hanging out, and I have Mike Barron, Max from Atrocity Press, and I got Tom Hutchinson from Big Dog Inc., and a bunch of other people are about to come in. So how is everybody tonight?
Doing fine.
Friday night, good to go.
Yeah, so obviously all of you have stuff going on, and you have stuff that's sort of going on. But I am curious, and given that, how do you feel about Spider-Man and everything that's going on with it? Because that's the big comic news, and I know it's Tom's favorite.
About that, it's just open today. We can't talk about that.
There are 1,000 reviews.
I don't care if we want to talk about it, but your viewers might not want to talk about it.
I didn't see it either. I just know that it broke all these box office things.
I'm aware of it.
Listen, that's not a surprise. There was no surprise that Spider-Man was going to be a big deal. Anyone who was surprised, you're not paying attention. Whether it's good or not, it's a whole different conversation. But obviously, it was going to do well.
No, I just want to throw that out there because I just want to tease everybody, get everybody all rallied up. But in all seriousness, obviously, Jim Noble decided to join us. I don't know if you know Tom, Jim, by any chance.
I'm familiar with his work.
Yeah, we do.
You guys should do like a collab or something, right?
Yeah.
One day we will. One day,
if he's lucky.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to start. So I don't know if everybody got that joke and what that joke is with what's going on, because those books are coming sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh damn! In hand. Yeah. Camp Rad Dog, Camp Retro, Camp Crossover. Mine are actually on press right now, so I'm expecting to have them soon-ish, and they'll go right out the door as soon as we got them.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I just saw that Shannon has all the patches done too, right?
I think she's on the last one now. She's almost done.
Okay. Yep.
Because I love the concept of what you two did, where you ran, for those who don't know, two Kickstarters that were going on at the exact same time. And it was almost a competition, but there was also some linking up between the two. Obviously, there are two camps on the other side. Goes to the entire summer thing and theme, obviously Wet Hot American Summer, and there's a Meatballs is another good one. And I think that was a brilliant concept on marketing. And I think that it's a lesson that so many people on Kickstarter can learn from the two of you. And I think you are the perfect case study for it, because prior to the both of you doing that, I don't think it's ever been done. And so I really want to highlight that. It's a smart thing.
It hasn't been done in the capacity that we did it. No. There have been crowdfunding campaigns that promoted each other. Like, if Jim did a book and I did a book and we were just like, hey, go look at each other's books. But in the context of here's one concept within two campaigns happening at the same time, and marketing each other at the same time. No, that's never happened before, to my knowledge. And I would say that it was
had a dueling banjos thing going on.
Exactly, yeah. And I would say that it was a hell of a success. I mean, between the two campaigns, we made over $50,000. And when Jim and I were talking about this early on, we were like, I don't know, maybe we'll hit like 15 and we'll be fine. And both of us cracked 20. He cracked 30. It was just like, what the hell is happening here?
30K.
So it was really fun. It was great. I think that we learned a lot doing this one, to where we could, translate a lot of things that we did right and wrong, or just completely blanked on, to do it again and kind of level it up and do it again. But having the two things at the same time was fantastic.
Because one of the things is that I haven't run a Kickstarter yet, so I don't know what it's like necessarily to start building out and doing collabs and cross promoting. And obviously all four of you have done this more than once. And I know that, Mike, you have something going on right now. I know, Max, you just wrapped something up. Tom, you always have something going on. Same thing with you, Jim. I know you're gearing up for January. 96 covers, right?
Yeah, 96 covers. I think like 10 books. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
So what is this like for all of you, figuring out new ways how to crowdfund? because I think this
I
is
have
something.
to say that I don't run my own crowdfunders. My wife Ann runs the novel crowdfunders. And my friend Chris Brawley is currently running the Thin Blue Line crowdfunder, and he ran Florida Man. And we're planning 2 more crowdfunders with Chris. The next will be Florida Man 2. And following that, the Western I'm doing with Pat Broderick, which is called Bronze Star. And Chris is a genius. He's a professional videographer, and you can tell by the videos he prepares for our crowdfunders.
Oh yeah, that crowdfund or the video for Florida Man was fantastic.
Yeah, to even talk about that, because this is something that obviously I'm learning with crowdfunding at the moment, is that, obviously having videos, having high images, having the right copy, it is a whole skill set that I thought it was going to be a lot easier than I realized.
Which is why I don't do videos anymore.
Yeah.
There are companies that do it for you.
Yeah.
And I have some friends who have helped me out on some of these things as well from time to time, and I've done them. I just over time I just kind of reached a point where it was like, because you can watch. One of the interesting things about your campaign is you can look at the analytics for like who's watching it, how long is it being watched, all that kind of stuff. And I was seeing basically the same sort of watch ratios and so on through all these things for a period of time that I was doing them. And then there was a time where I was just like, I just don't want to do it. I'm not going to put one on this campaign. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm just not going to do it. I didn't put it on. We still ended up with, comparable backer counts, comparable money. And that's where I just kind of started to realize that, the product really is speaking for itself here. I don't need to put my mug in here and go, hey, I'm Tom, and I write this crazy little book over here. So, and sometimes we do fun, like video things, like a 1-minute video, like for Camp Rad Dog and this stuff. I have just like a little 1-minute video thing that I made on, what do they call it? iMovie. They do these little trailer things that you can just like kind of plop images in and words and stuff. And that's cool. And that was fun to do. And so we do those from time to time, but for sure, anybody that's just getting started, 100% you need something in there. But over time, it becomes kind of less important, at least in my opinion.
Videos are tricky too, because a good video, it can maybe help your campaign, but a bad video will tank your campaign.
Well, I also come from the side of things that whenever I go to crowdfunding and I'm on Kickstarter and I'm looking around for stuff, I never watch the video.
Oh, I don't either.
Like it just,
I did a video for Random Machine Gun issue 1, and then we haven't done one since.
Yeah, and that's part of my problem is a lot of the things that I do, I base on me. Like, what do I care about as a consumer? And that may not always be right. I mean, I may literally do things wrong because of that. Because of my mindset, but for me, it's just like a video. Like I'm never clicking anyone's video ever. Whoever's listening right now, I'm never watching your video. So make sure that and basically all that means is make sure that your campaign, when I scroll through, looks awesome and your product is awesome and so on.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I'm sort of the same way. I don't know anybody else, but I am the same way where I am building my Kickstarter the way I am consumed things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so like I am right now working on my Kickstarter. I'm looking at building out metal cards because I love metal cards. And there's a niche for that. There's a group that loves metal cards. Sure. And that's what I love. And I'm curious because that to me is sort of, how I want to do it, because I want to create things that I want to create. I want to create products I want to create versus doing something just for the sake that, I guess, I don't mind doing certain products for other people in my Kickstarter as well. But I definitely want some of that as well because I'm looking for people who are like me. And I don't know how you guys even approach that because that's a real tricky situation.
Well, when you're talking about stretch goals, it's people do this all the time. They'll ask questions on social media. What do you want for stretch goals? And then you'll get 100 people to tell you 100 different things. It's not really relevant. So you kind of have to start with, what am I happy producing?
Stickers.
Yeah. What am I happy producing as a producer of whatever it is? And then you just kind of go from there.
Extra pages, a new book.
It's not really, there's no real brain surgery to it. It's just kind of create some merch, expand your product, extra pages, whatever.
I would say that when it comes to stretch goals, the smartest thing to do is to create things that are flat.
Mm-hmm.
Also to be mailed flat. And if you're going to do a poster, have it be comic book size. Because if you have a large, oversized poster, then you have to buy mailing tubes, and it becomes more complicated.
Yep.
So stickers, cards, and posters are all good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that
And poker chips, people love them.
the last few campaigns I've done, we've made enough to where I give out a free comic to everybody, and then in the back of that board, I put in all the stretch goal stuff, the mini prints, cards, stickers. It's so much easier, especially when people are buying one book. Now they're getting 2 books. It's a lot easier to pack 2 books in a Gemini.
Yeah,
We
you
did
talk about
the-
that because I actually am curious about this because obviously I sell a lot on eBay. Tom, you sell a lot. Jim, you sell a lot as well. And Max and then Mike, you guys ship out as well. Everybody here ships out comics to some degree in some fashion. And a lot of
We have over 500 backers for Thin Blue Line. It closes in 5 days. So get in on the action. And I have to tell you, it's going to be the most entertaining comic you read all year. And that's a promise because I know what I'm doing. It's pure excitement. A lot of people are reacting to it as if it's some kind of propaganda. It's not. It's just a gripping drama.
So to even talk about that, because that's actually really interesting. We're about to get slightly controversial. Is that what is this like to really push the line as a writer? Because I've been having conversations.
20 years ago, this book wouldn't have raised an eyebrow. But in today's climate, we're getting unbelievable pushback. We submitted it to every major publisher, and many of the responses we got were obscene. Go fuck yourself. Fuck the police. Eat shit. Get out of here with your propaganda. These are responses we got from so-called respectable publishers. And it just astonished me because, frankly, this defund the police movement makes no sense. If you're going to have civilization depends on the rule of law. You're either for the rule of law or you're not.
So even though to even get into some of that, where obviously I think everybody, including myself, I love to push the line. I love to have free discussions, and I love to engage, and I want to get to, I guess, what is the truth, or I want to even just tell stories for what stories are.
Absolutely.
And so what is this like? Because obviously, that's kind of what I want to do. And it's very alarming when we're in a realm of writing right now where there's that concern because, and I don't know how any of you feel about it, but, I'm very hesitant to enter comics in a lot of ways.
It doesn't matter to me. The most important thing is to provide an entertaining comic. I never lose sight of that fact. And I've been blacklisted. I have no hope of getting any work with the major publishers, but I'm not pitching to that crowd at all. I'm pitching to the other crowd, the crowd that wants entertaining comics. And I know how to entertain. Now, some people call them Comicsgate. Some people just say they're independents who are looking for alternatives to the big two. But whatever it is, my first goal is to entertain. And every writer has to entertain himself before he'll entertain others. So I don't let anything out of the house unless I think it's a home run.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. This is exciting now. So, because and then Jim, you do things as well with your cover art, where you have, obviously Steph Wilson, you push lines, Mike.
Can we get some of Jim's cover art up here on the screen?
Yeah. Jim, you want to share your screen?
Depends on which cover.
Yes. We should preface that. I like being on YouTube. I like being on Facebook still. I like my revenue stream that's actually working. And I would like to make my measly $8 an episode is all I'm asking for.
I'm just excited to see new art. So, Tom, if you got something, throw it up there.
Well, I can. The easy way to do this. I wasn't prepared for that, but I got a couple of things I can just drop into the background here.
Yeah. Well, that looks good.
You can see some stuff real quickly here.
Yeah. Well, that's professional art. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's the Wizard of. That's catnip and.
Pain for your soul.
Yeah, pay for your soul and.
Yep. So yeah, we do a lot of different stuff over here. This is our Western reimagining of the Wizard of Oz. Westerns, horror, superheroes, kaiju, jungle girls. A little bit of theology, a little bit of here and there, everything. So And that's really just because of me, is because my tastes are so varied that I can't just sit and write a horror thing for my
That
entire
looks
life.
like Mandy. Did you do that, Jim? Is that your art?
No, this is I'm the writer and creator of all the characters, but I hire so many variant artists. I have probably about 600 variants in the last 2 years from all the books that I've done.
Well, that's beautiful art.
This is the free book that I gave to every backer that backed the summer camp
Nice.
project that we did. This is by M.R. Gunn. This is my character Violet. No, she's a recovering drug addict who likes to have a good time, but she also takes down drug dealers.
That's a good hook.
There's the Steph Wilson sticker.
Tom, I just followed you on Twitter. Jim, I'm going to follow you on Twitter. Are you Jimmy Noble?
Let's talk about this, because obviously I'm a huge Bad Girl art fan. Max is as well, I think. And I think Tom, obviously, I think you're in that camp too. And like, I love Ebass's work. I love a bunch of other people who have done this for forever. And my mom hates it, which means I'm on the right track of what I'm buying. So as much as
your mom
I
is
love
not the target audience. I mean, although it's funny, my mom loves my stuff. She always wants my. She's like, give me that. She'll see me post something on Facebook, and she'll be like, "What's that one? I want to know what that one is." And then I got to give her a copy so she can read the book. So she likes it.
Because all I know is that when my mom hates something, that's when I buy it, because I know it's going to sell well. So when my mom, when I'm always having an issue on eBay, and do I offer the person $300 or $250? My mom's like, "Oh, you offer them $300." I offered the person $250, and they take the deal. So she's like the barometer for when I should back something if I'm on the fence on it, because whatever she says is wrong on it. And I know I'm on the right track, and it's a horrific thing to say, and I love my mom so much, but she's just the best barometer for all of that.
Where does she live? Is she still in Florida?
Oh, no, my mom's in Connecticut with me. She's up in her room while I'm doing this in the kitchen.
Okay.
She could hear all of this, and I'm sure that tomorrow I'm going to get yelled at for it.
She's going to be down in a minute.
If you see a frying pan being thrown at my head, we all know what happened. So obviously, I mean, I just love Bad Girl art, and I love what you're doing, and it's just the idea that I love what Jim does, and even what you do, Tom, with the entire Oz stuff, is that like even just pushing the line, and I love variants, and I love the entire business model of a variant. I'm not a fan of clowns; they scare me. So,
well, then you don't need to be. Don't be buying any Jim's books, because
probably don't even want to hang out with Jim.
Yeah, it's all clown porn.
Talk about it.
Clown porn.
I'm making clowns not scary again. I'm making them sexy again.
Bringing it back.
I'm bringing all the beautiful clown babes out.
Make
Take
clowns
it back.
sexy again.
Taking clowns back.
I'm taking it back because we went through like the last few years of like, oh, scary clowns, like the new It movies and all that. It's like, yeah, let's make them sexy. Like, why do we need to make them scary? It's a new market.
Yeah, even to talk about that, like, what is that like? Because I would have never guessed that you can make clowns sexy, and that's kind of crazy to me. In which that, all jokes aside, and me being
well, I don't think you're paying attention to pop culture. Anything can be turned sexy. Anything.
With the popularity of like Harley Quinn, even though Harley Quinn's not a clown, it's like, well, there's no real actual comic book character that's a sexy clown. Well, I need to, that's why I wrote Roxy Feelgood, and then I introduced Trix and Lotta Licks and Bendy Bendison and all those lovely clowns characters that I've created, and it's just like, yeah, no one else was gonna do it, so why not? I might as well.
Pick up that mantle and carry it with you.
Because it's so interesting, and I mean, you go hard, and like I think you're one of the guys that does so many variants every single year, Jim. And
yeah.
I don't know how you do it, because variants get expensive. They're difficult sometimes to print, and you go hard where you're doing. I mean, in legitimately, what is it? 3 weeks, you're going to be dropping 96 variants, and
I used to do like, on the Kickstarters, I would go through the alphabet. Like, here's cover A, B, C, D, and then I go through Z, and then I'd be like, okay, here's double A
AA?
and all that. And so now I have to I break it down to here's cover A, and instead of saying nude, I do cover A rad edition because it's totally rad comics. So I do rad editions. That way also I protect myself. I'm censoring myself in case anyone says, oh, you have the word nude, we're going to flag them or anything. So I just say rad. Or if it's an X-rated variant, I do rad to the max with a capital X.
To
Jesus
the max.
That works so far.
That's kind of crazy that you go through the alphabet, and even how do you keep track of that? 'Cause that's what I want to know, because I know that Mike.
Fulfillment is like my worst thing ever, man. Like when someone says I added on for cover A, and there's 3 different cover A's because there's 3 different books on the campaign. So it's like, well, which cover A did you add on for the Roxy Feelgood cover A, the Violet cover A, the Kitty cover A? It's like, oh, and of course it's different artists too. So it's like. Or sometimes it's the same one. They'll say the Steph Wilson one, where it's like, well, there's 7 Steph Wilson ones.
Yeah. I commissioned 52 Steph Wilson covers this year, so.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was. I have 7 of those covers that he did for me that I still haven't released yet. That I'm moving into 2022 because I just haven't had time to release the covers, because it's like I had to give my fans and his fans a break, because they're like, look, we can't afford to keep buying all these covers. I'm like, that's fine, because I can't afford to keep coming out with all.
Yeah, to even talk about this, because this is my whole thing, is that with variants is that after a while, I mean, I get bled dry, and it's a real problem where I get bled dry, where it's like I can't keep buying variants, and it's just like when somebody has it almost on constant drive, it creates a big problem for me, and I don't know how everybody deals with that on Kickstarter. And when you have so much content coming out, because overabundance of content can be complicated to manage. And I know this because I have a surplus in my eBay business right now, and I'm slowly moving it out. And it's been a rough few months on that.
Well, it's just like the old supply and demand curve. You have to set your price point at a point where your customers or most customers can afford it. And then, but you still want to make a profit or try to. So,
and then Mike just sent me something. I don't know the story behind this. So obviously,
the copper tone ad.
Yeah, classic. I like that.
We have some cheesecake.
I like how the L in Florida is like the girl on the back of the diesel truck almost.
That's the state, Max.
I know
the state.
I know it's the state, but also it looks like if you turn it a little bit.
Wait, I got some more good girl art, because I know that's what you guys want.
Clearly, that's what I want. That's what my audience wants. That's what the millions of people want in reality. And even talking about Florida Man, because I have read parts of Florida Man and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's
absolutely. You mean the novel or the graphic novel?
So I've read a bunch of the stories, and then I've read some of what you've done. And then I'm looking at like all the crazy stories that happen down there, and it's just like, oh my God.
You've just barely scratched the surface. Wait till you read the next one. Your brain will explode.
Because this is also, I feel like, pushing the line, and it's giving what people really want. Because in my view, and comics in the main too have become very, very boring in a lot of ways. And I am way more interested in something that is so out there and crazy, or is super hard.
That's why I was inspired to write them, by all those stories. And the point is to put Gary, that's the protagonist, he's Florida Man, to put him in the most awkward, embarrassing situation imaginable.
And have him invent house suspenders.
Because it's just kind of crazy. And like I don't know how you guys feel about like DC and Marvel, but I am genuinely bored. And I'm becoming more and more bored with things like IDW.
Well, listen, when you have DC and Marvel and you have these characters that have been around for 75 years,
Yeah.
At some point, and of that 75 years, look, I'm 50 years old. All right. I've existed for almost as long as these fucking characters have existed. At some point, these things run their course, you know.
No, that's not necessarily true. The problem lies with the editors and the writers. A good writer could revitalize those characters like that, but they don't hire good writers.
I don't disagree in the general sense of that, except here's the reality. There's no writer on the planet right now. There's no artist on the planet right now that you could put together as a team to make me buy Wonder Woman again. I used to buy it religiously. Like that was my book. I would buy it all the time, regardless of how bad it was. If someone came into me tomorrow and said, you know, X artist and X writer are going to restart Wonder Woman, I wouldn't care. You know, that's the problem with me. That's where I'm at. It's like the characters.
Tom, do you want to do Wonder Woman?
No, I don't.
You don't want to write Wonder Woman?
No, I have nothing to say.
Tom already has a project coming.
Well, I know he does.
Yeah.
But that's why I was saying here, as a writer, I didn't know
there are things within Marvel and DC. There are smaller characters that I could latch onto and potentially do something with that I would find potentially interesting, but they wouldn't care about what the hell I was trying to do because it's not within what they want to do. It's not within their larger concepts of, well, how do we Venomize it? Like, no, you're not going to Venomize this, you know. So there are smaller things, but in the larger sense, like, I don't give a shit about Batman. I mean, that is over. That's done. I don't give a crap about Superman. I don't give a crap about Spider-Man. It's impossible to make me buy Marvel and DC right now.
Give me magic or give me death.
You don't care because they've made you not care by churning out trash for years and years.
I don't disagree. But like I just said, there are writers and artists that I like a lot and that do like indie stuff and so on. Even if those guys were to transplant over to something on Marvel and DC, I wouldn't care, because even though I could say, well, okay, let's just pull a name out of the blue. Let's just say Robert Kirkman. Let's say Robert Kirkman came back to Marvel or DC and did Wonder Woman. I don't care. Even if he had something that potentially was interesting, I'm run out on those characters. They're done.
He would never be able to do what he wanted to do because the editorial would run that show.
Well, anyway. We've had that discussion. We've talked about that, but I'm just saying, in a general sense, there's nothing to make me care about those characters. Again, there are smaller characters that I'm like, why don't we use them? Why don't we use them? Why don't we use them? Because I don't feel like they've been overdone. Whereas everything else is overdone. Like, we've seen more Batman than anyone could ever consume.
How many times can Batman catch a criminal and they escape from Arkham? You know, it's Mum Ra over and over and over again.
We've seen the outline of his wiener now, so like, I mean, there's nothing to imagination.
I got that book. That's $100 book.
No,
the first appearance of the Batwang.
I mean, this is my whole thing, is that's why, like, I'm more interested in obscure characters in DC now. And, like, I mean, I made the statement that the only thing I want to do if I was to ever write a DC comic is I want to do Teen Titans West, because it really has never been done. And I just think it's fun. And I think you can actually have a better story with something that's more out there. And I don't want to deal with any of the normal characters. It's like, to me, I can't write the next greatest Batman story just because it's already been done, and it's been sold and sold again and again and again. And also, writing Batman, if DC said, hey, Andrew, you want to write Batman? The answer is yes, because why wouldn't it be? But it's not what I want to write. I want to write Teen Titans West more than anything, because I just think it's going to be a better project to write. I think there's going to be more.
Write my own characters. I would much rather write my own characters than any company character. And in fact, I'm still writing Nexus and Badger.
You know, if the Marvel gods came down and said, you can pick any one thing, just for shits and giggles, fun to do, right? Yeah. I would say, give me magic, and I want to do a new 4-part magic miniseries. That's what I want.
See, I would like to write for Marvel, but the problem is that the stories that I would want to write, Marvel would be like,
yeah.
They're like,
Marvel is not going to write porn.
You want her bent over doing what?
I mean, you know, my books are.
So Marvel wouldn't go with this?
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's Candy Cane cover.
That's the next Black Cat cover, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I don't know what you guys are thinking with this cover. I see a perfectly very sweet girl enjoying a candy cane.
Oh,
Where
for the
is-
Oh, she's
holidays.
definitely enjoying it, brother. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great cover.
see, now learn something about you today.
What?
You now learn that your mind's in the gutter. Clearly,
I'm
This is
not
a
the one
family
showing
fucking
the photos
friendly
there,
show.
buddy.
I've
This is
read
a
Totally
family
Red
fucking
books.
friendly show. God damn it!
I've read Totally Red books.
You show images
I've
like
got
this
it.
all the time.
If you're not
It's a great
Max.
that.
Nope, nobody reads Totally Red.
no,
Yeah,
there's,
right?
You know,
there's
it's
no-
funny.
there's only
I
4
had a
pages of
fan.
story,
I had a
but-
fan see me at a show, and he was like, "You know, I really love your books, but I've never read them." And I'm just like, "Hey, thanks, man." But he's like, "But the guy's bought at least like over $1,000 worth of my books." I'm like, "Oh, all right,
Holy
cool."
shit.
Like,
I'll take
Well,
that.
that means he's a cover collector. He likes to
Okay.
cover.
yeah, he
He's
definitely
an art
loves the
collector, yeah.
I have
That's me.
at
That's
Totally
totally
Red
me. I am a cover collector. I actually did, and I'm looking forward to reading Thin Blue Line. I will read that because that's going to be an exciting story to read.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not interested in the cover, Mike. I'm sorry.
Well, we got
Just
we
tear
got
the
a couple
cover off of
covers.
his and send him one with
Yeah,
no cover.
let me send you Sergio Cariello's cover. I mean, it's not cheesecake because it's a cop drama, but it's great art. And you know, the
I
other
wanna see
cover, the
that.
main cover is by Butch Geis, with whom I did Flash, and Butch and I are working on a new project. In fact, where's Sergio?
I remember Butch back from the Doctor Strange days.
I'm just waiting for it.
That was some
In the
fun
meanwhile, you got this one too. That's Florida Man right there.
I can't find that fucking thing.
We got this one right here. And I love this thing right here. That thing is off the chart. And apparently,
Oh, yeah.
as a girl, as I found out too tonight.
Todd Mulrooney drew that. Where is Sergio?
What about this cover? Because I like this cover.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that's another great one. That's that's our Christmas, Totally Rad Christmas for Buku Comics. They did a store exclusive, and they'll be getting that book this week. Pretty gorgeous book.
BooTube Comics?
This is the day that I get kicked off YouTube. So this is how two of the show's ending.
It's got the
That's
ribbon.
not going to get you kicked off.
They should be fine.
You'll be fine.
So I had Ricky Calorino on, or I don't know how to say it, and I put up an
High impact guy. I know him.
right. So I put up an image of one of his covers as sort of like the cover image, and YouTube flagged it, and I'm like, this is the least thing that's offensive. I've shown Zenoscope art, I've shown other people's art, I've shown like Ebaz's art, and I'm like, you guys are flagging this? Like,
It's completely arbitrary.
Yeah,
So
somebody just was having a bad day and they decided to give you a static.
I did a Mary Machine Gun ad once, and the Facebook declined the ad because it was a dating service.
I'd like to get on that service.
Well,
Exactly.
look, Facebook had a hit on for Max for like a good solid year.
Mhm.
Max, it got so bad that Max had to create a whole new account just to get around Facebook, like always blocking his stuff.
Of all the adult stuff that I've done, I've never gotten in trouble with Facebook. Like, I've never gotten a warning. I've never been banned.
I haven't either.
Like, I just censor everything. I don't know. They've never said anything. Hey, you can't do this. Although I did make one post, and then like it just disappeared. Like, Facebook made it disappear. I didn't get a warning. I didn't get in trouble. It just disappeared.
Use the word vaccine.
The only time I ever got in trouble for a post was it was a post making fun of ISIS, but it had an ISIS flag in the picture, so they flagged it for terrorism.
And ever since then, Max has been on their hate list.
Exactly.
You know, I said we must bomb the Patterson Book Factory. It was a joke because James Patterson has a new book out every week, and they gave me a 3-day suspension for that because for inciting violence.
oh man, I don't get in trouble on Facebook. I get in trouble like 3 or 4 times a year on Twitter.
Well, it was a completely innocent and humorous remark, but they don't recognize context at all. It's all algorithms that zero in. These words are banned. If anybody uses these words, ban them.
It's also, to add on to that, it's also people who see a video and they see something that they don't like that they think goes against the terms of service. So they'll end up flagging the video, and that automatically triggers the algorithm. They go, oh, okay, this is bad. And then you have to go ahead and appeal it to actually have a human set of eyes review it to okay it.
Right.
No, it's crazy because obviously, and I'm very upfront, and Mike knows what I'm going to say right now, is that when I interviewed Mike the first time, I was a little bit nervous about it because obviously it's dealing with the police, and I thought it was a little bit of a sensitive issue, but I don't really care. And a lot of groups that I posted this in, they didn't care, and they were all like, oh, this is cool, and a bunch of people like that, interview. And there was only one group that took it down, and I thought there was going to be a lot more resistance. And I was like,
are you talking about Thin Blue Line?
What?
Are you talking about Thin Blue Line?
Yeah, I thought all these comic groups were going to be very resistant to it, and apparently they weren't. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, where I definitely thought there was going to be more resistance. And, only one group basically said, we don't like this post. And I'm like, okay. And I thought it was going to be more like 10. And I was sort of shocked. And I was really actually excited to be wrong for once.
Well, I think the reason for that is that a very tiny minority of people have the loudest voices in the room because they control most of the media. So they seem much larger and more powerful than they really are. And like they say, Twitter is not real life. I mean, most people go about their lives unaffected by Twitter. And most people are pretty sensible, and they recognize that a cop drama is just a cop drama. It's not an assault on their way of life.
No, it was very interesting, and obviously this is the cover that and I don't think it's the best image, but this is the cover that you did with I think it's the variant, right?
That's Sergio. Yeah, if we get to 1,000 more, we're at 24,000 now. We need 1,000 more to unlock that cover to make the book bigger. And Sergio Cariello is a brilliant artist. I mean, that's just a brilliant illustration. But it's not what people are looking for, because most of these Kickstarters that go into six figures, they're by terrific artists, some of the greatest artists in the world. But they're also superheroes, science fiction, cheesecake, and horror. And those are the four most popular titles in crowdfunders.
Yep.
Cheesecake for the win.
Yeah.
Cheesecake for the win.
Well, I mean, Mike, you're sitting here with four guys that do Bad Girl comics, right?
I know. Cheesecake. It's a cheesecake factory.
But I'll tell you something. People love them. And when you actually crack into these books, it goes beyond a pretty cover, right?
Oh, sure.
Speaking for me strictly, Niobe's a pretty, deep stuff when you get into it. I mean, the last subject I handled, Mike, was on abortion. How many comic book creators got the balls to do that?
Well, you know something, Niobe, let's you and me trade books.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that before when I had you on my show. I don't know if you remember, but you were on last year. We had a great conversation, brother.
Yeah, well, all right. You know something, I'm going to send you a note right now via Facebook, and we'll get that done.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the interesting things you guys were talking about, pushback on comics and stuff. When I started, my first book was Penny for Your Soul, which is basically about the end of days if it were to take place in Las Vegas. And, Jesus is a televangelist in Las Vegas. So I'm walking, headlong into what I'm assuming is going to be just nightmarish pushback, on the book. But I never got it. And I even had a guy who used to come to cons. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's a priest, pastor, minister, something. I don't know how all the faiths work with all of their different verbiage, but he was a priest who loved the book. He found me at San Diego Comic-Con. He's like, you do Penny for Your Soul? I said, yeah, I write Penny for Your Soul. He says, I love this book. This is so great. And I'm like, what just happened right now? And it was awesome because to him, he totally understood that it's just fictional to him. It's a fictional story using things that he understood. But because I did things that, how do I say this? I did things that were in the book, I guess, that I drew out and used for my story. He appreciated that I had, read the Bible and been like, okay, well, let's take this piece, this nugget, let's kind of use it for this storyline. And he was like, this is awesome. I love it. Was like historical fiction to him, right? So it was really, really cool to have him come and want to talk theology and talk about the book. And so I never got the pushback that I expected. which means that I'm nowhere near the line that I thought I was on that book.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, you want to see it, Andrew? Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cover. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show your viewers, man. This is from Justin Hunt, our latest cover for Niobe Outbreak, brother.
Wow.
He did a fantastic job. And then I'm going to show you the other one, Mike. Boom, 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 boom. This one here is done by Zenoscope artist Keith Garvey.
Oh yeah, Keith Garvey. I know him.
Yeah, you worked with him once or twice there, James, right?
Yeah, he does like a cover a month for me.
Right?
He's a busy guy right now.
So yeah, I'm not scared to tackle controversial issues. You know, when Mike shows the the thin blue line, I do see why people get their cages rattled because of the whole defund the police movement and that sort of stuff. But I mean, I would say to those same people, if you don't want to see a cop book, a cop drama in a comic book, then I guess you're not watching, all Law and Order. I guess you're not watching,
I love
Law and Order.
Like I love
Law and Order.
So I guess if you hate the comic, then you have to hate all these cop shows too, then, right?
Right.
It doesn't it also go back to the idea that it used to be that if you didn't like something, you just turned to another channel. You turned it off. You didn't listen to it. Or you moved on and then you found something that you liked. And
on social media, you now have to tell everyone that you don't like it. So
Yeah, you don't have to tell everyone you don't like it. Just find something you like and watch it.
Well, we did that anyway, but I remember when the Phantom Menace came out, right? I would if social media existed then, I would have been on a goddamn tirade because that movie was horrible. You know what I mean? So us disgruntled fans have existed long before social media, my friend.
Moviepoopshoot.com.
Like Kevin Smith and like Bob and Silent Bob and Jay. What? They're writing shit about us on the internet.
Are you Big Baller 69? Yeah.
Right.
You say this about Jay and Silent Bob,
right?
Oh, I mean, it's brilliant, that entire thing, but it's so true, and it's just like I just don't get it. I don't get people anymore. Like that's my whole problem is that. And maybe I'm from a different generation, but it's just so weird for me in that, and whatever. People suck.
Well, it's just that people become so opinionated, and now they have the ability to share that opinion in 5 seconds or less to the world, which is sort of a dangerous concept if you really think about it.
Yeah, it's very dangerous in a lot of ways, and it's just one of those things that's just kind of just bonkers to me. And I think we need more of this.
Whoa.
I agree, 100%. We definitely need more of that. You can never have enough,
or some of this.
See, look at that. That is a gorgeous cover. It's got cats on it. People like cats and beautiful women and Christmas and horror movies. Like there's so many.
Yeah.
If you'd like to purchase any of these, you can go find them at totallyradcomics.com.
Totally Rad Comics, Totally Rad LLC. Yeah. Yeah, you literally Google Totally Rad Comics. It's like the first site that comes up. It's available now for $20. Dollars are standing by now.
And I thought I was a shill. Shit.
I'm shilling for Jim because I ain't got nothing to shill right now.
I love to sell everything.
Christmas is a week away, and I haven't bought a gift for anybody. So please buy my book so I can buy no gifts for nobody.
My book.
Buy my book.
Want to see something, man? Here, I'm going to show you this. You've probably seen this song. Not my blue case here. Let's move the camera. There we go. Check this out, man. Andrew, this is like a bona fide Niobe fucking jean jacket patch, brother. Made by the guys that make Brian Polito's patches, man. So I got hooked up with them. This thing is like badass, brother. It's going to go right over the Metallica patch, man.
You get the
over the Metallica patch.
Well, I'm going to take the Metallica patch off, and this goes right in, like it's the exact same size, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you get the fold out of it?
What's that?
Did you get the fold out of it?
I'm going to get the fold out. It'll probably take, like a maybe. But yeah, I'm going to bring it down to the seamstress that's down the road. They have a little sewing shop, and I'll just, get them to take care of it. I don't want to fuck it up.
I hear a sewing machine. Does anybody else hear a sewing machine?
Yeah, that's my wife.
It's kind of crazy. I saw the patch, and I think that patch is dope. In which that I've never been a jean jacket guy. It's not my thing, but it
That's because
definitely.
you didn't exist in the 80s.
Yeah,
I
I,
have a jean
I
jacket.
wasn't conceptualized.
And I write nothing but 80s, so
I have a DC
my
jean
jean
jacket.
jacket goes right back from high school. It's got like, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and it's all coming off because I'm getting all these custom patches made. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a total Niobe weave jacket, brother.
why don't you just get a new jean jacket then? Keep the old one, get a new one.
Well, I could probably do that too. Yeah.
Like a rock and roll one, all the good music.
Well, I get a
Because they
black
don't
one.
acid wash anymore, Jim.
Yeah,
You gotta have
right.
the acid wash.
It's not broken in right. You look like
I'm
you came
gonna
out of
go get
Kmart.
it now.
No, that's. I think it's gonna look sick. Your jean jacket with that. It's gonna look cool, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for your jean jacket, Larry. It's gonna be great. It's just now you just gotta mass produce them and basically bring the 80s back. That's all I need to do.
That's what I'm doing in my book. I'm bringing the 80s back. What the hell?
No, you're bringing more than the 80s back.
That's because nobody reads my stories.
My stories.
Stories.
You're bringing way more than the 80s back. You're
There's
bringing the
stories?
correct 80s back. because your books are not safe for work.
Well, some of the pages are, but not all the pages of the book. Like, I could show you the last page of the summer camp story. Like, I could show that.
Just the last page.
Just the last page, because every other page has nudity on it.
What camp did you go to growing up?
Not this one, which is why I wrote it.
Camp
I went
Red.
to-
I want to go to Jim's camp so bad.
Clearly, I think we determine what's viral in the Rad Dog, and I'm assuming you invited him, right? This guy.
Sup?
Hi, Phil.
Hey, what's up, Mike? Tom? The regular crew, Jim. Well, dang, BSG, I can just go if you want, man.
No. You're more than welcome to stay. You are more than welcome to stay because it's come and go. Whoever wants to come in, there's a bunch of people in and out, and it's whatever anybody wants to do. And I don't know what I'm doing still. So clearly, this is all new to me. I like the work.
No, I'm just messing around. How's everybody doing, man?
Shame myself.
Solid.
So what's going on with you, Phil?
Oh, not a lot, man. I was scrambling. I had to go grab some food. So I'll probably not have my cam on for a minute so I can snarf food down so I don't pass out and shit.
Well, that was earlier today. I've done enough for everybody. For everybody who wants to know, I fainted in my bathroom this morning.
Oh, damn.
And it was not good, and it came on in a very scary way where you ever get dizzy, and then you're like, oh, man, I'm going to catch myself, and then you don't, and then, your mom sort of makes sure your head doesn't hit the floor. That was my morning this morning.
Oh,
So-
fun.
Disney always makes me dizzy.
That was just going to say.
Disney
And
will
then-
do that to you all the time. You got
Bongs
to
will
cut
do
that
that,
Disney
man.
out of your life.
I knew I shouldn't have watched the end of Loki. I'm blaming it on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm just going to say that, clearly, I don't know if there's a Spider-Man movie coming. Maybe, maybe not. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't go see it yet. I'm seeing it in a week from now.
Yeah, I'm taking the kid for when he gets out of school for Christmas break.
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Some of us have already seen it.
Why?
Some of us are going to spoil it for you right here.
No,
Right
I'm out of
now.
here.
That's how you get rid of people. See, that's how easy it is. I'm going to spoil Spider-Man. I'm going to give you a countdown to 5.
I don't
And-
care. I'm only going
It
because of
doesn't
the kid.
mean anything to me. It'll just get me more views, and that's what I really want. So go right ahead.
There you go. You can put it in your header, spoilers ahead.
We just ruined Spider-Man, everybody. That's Tom's gift to everybody who's watching this live and on
Nick
replay.
kills
Ruining
Spider-Man.
Oh, there'd be 2 good spoilers that just screw the whole thing up for you.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's ruining Spider-Man. It's how we run things.
Look, Spider-Man's great and all. I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I pretty much can predict how that's going to go down. But I'll tell you what I am excited for. Cobra Kai Season 4 on December 31st, man.
Me too.
Are we gonna do like a watch party that day?
Yeah,
where
we're
we
going to
just,
do
like,
something,
watch it?
Max. We're
And then-
going to do something for sure.
Yeah,
If you like
very
Cobra
excited.
Kai,
And
there's a
then the
movie
Green
on
Goblin
Netflix.
comes out of nowhere.
Right?
Duncan bombs the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
And you know, I know Tom's not into the new Star Wars stuff, but I mean, the Book of Boba Fett is something I'm going to watch too. That's going to come out
Oh, yeah.
2 days before Cobra Kai, so sort of like back-to-back series. You know what I mean?
You can't not watch Boba Fett. Like Boba Fett, he's the OG Star Wars badass.
watch
Like,
me not watch it.
If
I
you like
want
Cobra Kai, there's a movie on Netflix called Paper Tigers, which has the same vibe.
Oh yeah, I'll check it
Yeah.
out, man. Because I'll tell you something. I'm like Johnny Lawrence, just without the karate. You know what I mean? Like
So
I'm
you're
the
an
guy that
alcoholic?
has those like badass, mixed cassette tapes still in the shed. You know, like, I always want to drive a Camaro. You know what I mean? Like,
I got
Guys,
to fade,
my
guys.
God.
Thank you for having me on.
oh, you're
All
leaving
right.
us, Mike.
So, Mike, before you go, where can people find you? Where can people back Thin Blue Line? Where can people pledge to it and all that stuff? Obviously,
I'm on Twitter at Bloody Red Baron. I'm on Facebook at the Comics and Novels of Mike Barron and also Michael A. Barron. I'm on Substack, mikebarron.substack.com, and we're revamping my website, bloodyredbaron.com. And if you go to Amazon, just type in Mike Barron, all sorts of shit pops up.
Mike, will you come on my show after the Christmas break, sir?
I would love to.
Excellent.
We can talk some more prog rock, Mike.
Who's asking? Is that Niobe?
No,
No,
Phil.
I was asking,
Phil,
but
yeah,
Phil
Phil.
and
The
Max-
other
Yeah,
day
I'm
on the
looking at
show,
your
we were
page
talking.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at your page right now, Phil. So yeah, let's talk about that. I'd love to.
well, you come on my show. Phil and Max are always there. They're always on my show. So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like my regular cast.
Yeah. All right, babies. Thank you so much.
Ever since season 3.
That's a good holiday, Mike.
Peace. And then
I know we've got a Mike out there and we can all talk horrific about him. No, we're not going to go do that.
So in the first scene in Spider-Man,
Right? Mike
I-
Barron is one of those old school casts, man. And there's very few of them around that are still, sort of doing and pulling the weight, and there are guys, and let's just be honest, that have sort of been excommunicated or exiled from the main industry. Guys like Chuck Dixon, guys like Mike Barron, who are still trying to do things in what they love in comic books. And it's awesome to see that Mike Barron, even at getting up there in age, is still kicking ass and doing this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very much, I think, that there's the old guard, and it's also, I don't know how to exactly say it off the top of my head, but I think there's this really cool thing where it's nice to see somebody say sort of, fuck you, I'm going to still produce comics. And I think that there's a lot of respect that has to be given when you've been kicked out of the mainstream. And then you say, well, I'm going to still do this, and I'm going to still go out there, and I'm going to still try to make a living doing this or make money doing it. And, obviously Chuck Dixon, Mike Barron, way before Kickstarter got big, they were doing it. And I think it's a lot easier now with Kickstarter and Indiegogo, but I think those guys paid a lot of paths and sort of helped that be achieved. And a lot of them saying that, if Marvel DC, doesn't want to book your shit, it's not the end of the road.
No, it really isn't. And like every single person on this panel has proven that, time and time again, to be honest with you, that, while the mainstream industry is dying a dismal death, what isn't dying a dismal death and what's actually booming is the independent industry. And we're getting bigger and badder every single day, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim's responsible for the bad part.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, when I mean bad, I mean like badass. Like,
Totally
That is
bad
a
We know,
comics.
Larry. We're reading between the lines. We
all
know.
right.
We know.
Totally bad
Okay.
comics.
Totally horrible comics, man. Fuck.
Oh, I feel attacked. I feel attacked.
Well, you should
So,
do
man, in
that.
Spider-Man,
Yeah,
there's a
so,
lot of
you
webs
know-
being flung,
Yeah, let
man.
me tell you.
There's a lot of white stuff in my book too.
I'm sure there is, Jim.
But listen, you're talking to the guy that his opening page was a girl giving head.
Yeah,
That's every page. That's every opening page.
You know what's funny? So I work with my printer. My printer is right down the street from me, and he goes, "Dude, all your books, every single one of your books, almost all of them start on page 1 with a blowjob." And I was like, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up printers because if anyone would think they wouldn't print get book printed, it'd be you, right? But yet I see Ben Dunn talking about how his printer just rejected him because of the content that was in his book. Seen a similar story last year when Brian Polito got rejected by a printer for Hell Witch. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So do you guys think that printers are becoming a little bit more conservative with what they're willing to print as far as it goes with sexual content?
I would say that 2 printers saying no in the grand scheme.
Okay, but that's
all
just
the
the 2
publishers.
I know about. When you read Ben's thread, there's actually several examples of people saying, "Yeah, this happened to me. This happened to me. This happened." To me.
That's kind of a very interesting thing because I saw that and I was a little bit shocked because I'm like, Antarctic Press is sort of a well-respected staple. I looked at that book that he put out there, and I didn't think it was that bad. I think it was pretty.
Any printer right now who is rejecting business is putting themselves out of business.
I was going to say it doesn't make good business.
Here's the thing with
we operate in the paper world where paper and print is going away at a drastic rate, but we're not going to print your book.
But here's also the thing, like maybe something that they may not be saying. I'm not going to defend the printer, but we are, speaking of the paper stuff, we are going through a big paper shortage right now, and there's a lot of printers out there that were not ready for the paper shortage. Not only that, but we're also going through a toner shortage, which nobody seems to be talking about right now. But I guarantee you, in the next few months, the guys that are using third party, fourth party, printers like Chinese printers and stuff, they're going to be falling really far behind because they're out of printer and they're out of paper and they're out of toner, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, I got worried.
And how long the shipping takes.
Like I legit called up Comics Wellspring, like, are we going to be good to go for January? Like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, thank God.
And also, I don't know if you guys know what's going on overseas, but a lot of the thing that happened, and I had a friend, Santine Phoenix, just produced a D&D book, Dungeons and Dragons, and they produced a book, and legitimately their book was sitting in a warehouse after it was printed for almost 2.5 months because they couldn't find a boat.
What do you think Exciting Comics 17 is?
Yeah, that's what I was going to, yeah.
My fucking book has been in limbo forever.
Well,
I emailed Diamond like 3 days ago. I'm like, when the hell's this book coming out? I said,
yeah, but your book is in the country. It's in their warehouse. This is, printing in China. You have to get it across the
Well, they printed
Pacific
it overseas.
Ocean.
That's what I thought. I thought they printed it
was
overseas.
Stuck in transition. It finally got to the warehouse just recently.
Oh, okay.
So now it will actually come out. But I mean, it was 2.5 months. It was supposed to be out October 27th.
October, yeah.
What's really crazy too is like, so I know a couple guys who are like into making vinyl records, right? And they're saying like they're getting like 2-year turnaround times right now on vinyl.
Damn.
Like, you imagine doing a record and it's like, okay, guys, it'll be ready in 2 years. It's like, wait, what?
Get ready for the tour in 2025.
No, I mean it's
Gotta get Jack White on it, man. He's slipping. He's slipping with his printing vinyl now.
Yeah, like the printer that I use, they're like, out of all the customers that they have, I think I'm like the second or first like highest spender with them. So they're like, yeah, just like I'm there every day, at most of the times of the day because they're just like, yeah, you want to help print the books, load the paper into the machines and all that, you could do it. So like I do have most of the books I make now, I do most of the work minus the file setup and them printing it from the big printer. I do all the binding and the cutting, and it's crazy.
They're making Jim make up for their labor shortage.
I was saying, do you get a discount for that doing half the work?
Oh yeah. I definitely get I definitely get a good discount, and like because I technically work there, I get health insurance, which is really cool. Being an indie creator and I have health insurance, it's like fuck yeah, like I'm still making it no matter what.
That's a thing, man. Indie creator and health insurance. Oh my
Oh,
god.
I know that's it's
Well,
like
that's not
the
even a thing with guys who work for the mainstream because most of them are independent contractors. It's like being a wrestler. You know, you don't. Vince McMahon doesn't give you health insurance. You pay for that shit on your own.
Hell.
Yeah. I go to the VA when I'm dying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got the VA too, but also like it's good to have like actual good health insurance too.
Oh,
'cause
no,
Like
no,
good
I-
health
yeah.
insurance.
There is
I've
no
got-
good health insurance. It doesn't
I've-
exist.
I've
It's not
got
a thing.
I've got a
It
legit
just
piece.
is health
He's
insurance, but it's never
primary
good.
care guy. He's pretty good. My doctor's pretty good. My primary care doctor that I have.
I didn't say the doctor wasn't good. I said the
outside of
insurance is
VA.
no good.
Oh yeah, the insurance is terrible.
There's plenty of good
Yeah.
doctors.
So sometimes the VA is just like, oh, your leg hurts. Well, we're just gonna amputate it. Like, what? And they're just pulling up
That
the
way it
face
won't
down.
hurt anymore.
Dude, here, seriously, my toe, my big toe on my left foot was turning black, and they were gonna cut it off, and then I got assaulted by a nurse, but she got because I was screaming because it hurt so bad, and they said they gave me morphine, which they didn't because I've had morphine before and I know what morphine feels like,
You're like, that's some weak shit.
and it wasn't morphine, whatever the hell they gave me, and I was hurting so bad that I sweat off all those little sensors and everything. I'd sweat them off. And this lady came in and just grabbed me by my black toe and twisted it. And she's like, I don't have time for your fucking bullshit. So I jumped out of the bed and I ripped that IV out of my fucking arm. And I was like, what are you fucking touch me, bitch? Did you fucking just touch me? And then she starts backing up out of the room. I'm like, where are you going? I thought you were all hard. What happened? Then the VA police showed up. And I was
And
like,
what happened
I'm
to the
out.
toe?
They were going to cut it off, and then I declined service from the VA, and the next day I went to the hospital, just to the ER, the regular hospital, and I actually ended up having a 95% blockage in my knee, and they had to put a stent in, and then they saved my toe and everything. So if the VA would have cut my toe off, they would have started having to cut all the rest of my toes
Yeah.
off, and they would have just kept
Yeah, the
cutting.
VA's just going, what's the cheaper procedure?
Well,
Just hack it off, man.
Practice is what
They would
that
have
is.
just kept cutting until they got to cut the freaking the clog off at my knee.
Jeez.
But would they have let you keep the body parts in a jar to take home?
See, I hope so. I would hope so.
Now, Andrew, you haven't mentioned the chat out. Do we have any fine people in the chat? Is there any activity going on?
There's no activity going on. It's a weird Friday.
People, speak up. I know you're lurking out there somewhere.
It's Friday. What's the day? I totally forgot that was happening today. And Tom was like, "Hey, where you at?" And I was like, "Oh yeah."
They're probably all at Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
picked Spider-Man Day. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about Spider-Man.
Right?
I didn't think it was going to come out. I thought the date that they announced, like the December 17th or whatever, I thought that was just like a placeholder and they're going to push it to 2022. But here we are. It came out. So.
Man, Spider-Man. Man, you're going to love it when the Hulk shows up, man.
Oh, my God.
Oh, come on, man.
I hope it's Spider-Hulk.
Eyes.
You know, someone out there just lurked for 1 second, heard that, Phil, and like, God damn it.
That's great because they're going to be watching for a Hulk and there ain't going to be no fucking Hulk.
Snape kills Spider-Man.
That's my favorite spoilers. I just make up shit, man.
No, Andrew, it is the end of the year coming, right? You know, and we are embarking on a new 2022. Big year, I'm assuming.
A
for
new
all.
2022 or a new year?
Like, have we done this before?
Yeah, wait a
Well,
minute.
You know, back in 1922 when Larry was a young man.
Oh, the year's ending.
So I like what Tom. What is happening for you 2022? What's going to be the big thing?
I don't know.
I know, but I can't say it.
This is I actually think it's not a legitimate.
I don't know. I'm going to take the year off. I think. Just going to not
Bullshit.
do anything.
Yeah, that sounds like a fucking.
Not going to do anything. Yeah, it's in January, and we're going to start actually having the promotion for it here. Probably starting next week. We'll have the Critter action figure we'll be launching in January.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that is our next big deal. And if we can pull it off, it's going to open the doors for us to do just about anything from a toy standpoint, because the company that's making them is like fully behind us. They're like, yo, this freaking figure looks great. We've seen all the other stuff that you do, and let's just keep the ball rolling. So if we can make this work, we can start actually, moving into some sort of regular production, sort of across the Big Dog Inc., spectrum, which would be awesome. I'd love to do that.
Do you mean the company that makes toys wants you to make more toys?
Well, they want me to make more toys as long as I can pay to make them,
right? As long as, as long as they sell.
It's like we talk about with the printer, right? It's like anybody wants to make money, but you got to find people that can actually make things happen.
Jim, what's your 2022 going to look like for Totally Rad?
Well, we're also doing toys, but not the kind of toys that Chap is doing.
Is it blow-up dolls?
No, I'm just kidding. We're not doing toys. The Totally Rad. We're doing a book called Pink 69, and it's a space book about a planet full of women, and then a man crash lands onto the planet. They've never seen a man before, so you can imagine where the story goes. So that's going to be a whole year thing. It's a 100-page story. It's already done. I bought the rights to it. So I'm publishing that book all year. So I'll probably do issue 1 in January, and then so on and so forth throughout the year. And we're going to do Violet, Totally Rad Life of Violet number 5, Totally Rad Life of Kitty Banger number 3, Totally Rad Adventures of Zero number 2, Totally Rad Babes from Outer Space number 2. It's just a lot of Totally Rad stuff. And let's see what else.
A lot of babes.
Also,
you got books coming, man. It's going to be a bloody freaking Kickstarter in January for you.
We're doing the Totally Rad for the holidays, which is going to be all the web store releases this year. It's going to be 96 covers, many covers from Keith Garvey, M.R. Gunn, Steph Wilson, Alfred Lee, Daxina, DeJin, just so many Totally Rad artists, so many books. And it's basically for people who missed out on the web store this year, because people on Kickstarter, they'll buy your books on Kickstarter, but sometimes they don't go to your web store unless it's you actually put it on Kickstarter. So it's just a way of getting that audience onto the web store stuff. And it's stuff that's already ready to go. It's literally in boxes ready to be shipped. So that's just a kind of like clear me out end of the year type Kickstarter. Plus the new book, Pink 69, issue 1 will be on that as well. And my Totally Rad Halloween book will also be on that, which we were going to release at Christmas, but then I was like, fuck it, we'll release it in January, because nothing says January like a Halloween book.
Right? I'm going to do my very first holiday book. That's going to be part of my 2022. It's going to be the Niobe Holiday Special. I'm going to do it in the summer and hopefully ship it out by November, December. That's going to be the plan.
So let me ask you, are you going to show up in your book and fuck all your characters? Because that's what I did in my book.
No, there is no sex in my books. I mean, that's the thing about Niobe is like they see like the hot, Q&A covers and they read my book and they go, it's totally not what I expected. I said, well, what did you expect? And they said, well, like, a little bit more graphic than maybe what is. I mean, she's never even kissed anyone, let alone have sex with anyone. There's never happened.
Yeah, I did a Christmas book last year, and I was just like, all my characters are sitting around a Christmas tree, and they're like, what do you want for Christmas? And then one of them was like, to meet my creator. And then the artist drew me in, and I was like, that's not what you want. What you really want is this. And then I fucked all my characters.
Fuck yeah, you did. Outbreak is going to be our big thing. It'll be a 3-part miniseries, and then, whatever we do with Antarctic Press. Matt?
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get our fucking books out, Show this picture, Andrew. This is going to be a new character showing up in Outbreak. This is drawn by Fern Cord, which is Mary Machine Gun artist fame of Max DeVille here. Max loaned me his artist for some character concept designs. So she's going to be a new baddie. And then I had to get my very own cat girl, Tom. So I got Catfish here. And she's going to be Niobe's little buddy. You know what I mean? A couple of new characters showing up on, first appearances. I'm even going to include her cat, Snowball. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah.
Snowball.
Yeah, Snowball. Niobe's cat.
And then, Larry, you have something cool going on as well.
Who?
With Antarctic Press, beyond just Niobe. It's Niobe related.
Niobe.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what else do I got going on with them, brother?
The crossover.
You did some research.
Okay. Fuck. Yeah. Ninja High School in Niobe. I mean, the reason why I don't haven't even mentioned it is because, I'm still writing it, but the thing is, Ben still has to draw it, and I don't know how quick Ben will be at doing that.
A lot of ideas sort of come down the pipeline, and half of them come to fruition, half of them don't. So we'll actually see what actually happens with that. But I already got people working on it, like Justin Hunt's doing a cover. So whether Ben draws it or not, I'm going to make it happen. But the plan was for Ben Dunn to draw in, his not Niobe, but his Ninja High School manga style. And we just sort of thrust Niobe into that world for an issue,
Niobe High School.
Manger.
Print it backwards.
Hey, what you got going on, Phil?
Me, working on issue 2 of White Devil.
White
Devil! Doing a couple pages for Cthulhu Goes to Wonderland. Working
Is
on
that the Travis Gibb book?
Yeah. That's the follow-up to, what was it? Cthulhu
Invades Oz or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And working on a couple of color pieces with Dave Sumi that's coming up, working on some illustration interior art for some RPG that I don't have the full details of yet, but it's in the works. And yeah, just staying busy, man.
Phil will also cover
and working
his Chibi Niobe card that they're going to do for my next Kickstarter.
Yep, and that'll be coming up, that Kaiju book, the short story with Pete. Got that short story coming up with the Atrocity thing in the future here with Warren Brown, which is already in production.
Yep, he's
already seen some preliminary art.
2 pages on the pencils, I think. It's only 5 pages, so.
Yep. So going from not busy to a whole lot of busy. So that's what's been going on.
That's
lately.
what you want, though, brother. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Warren on.
How about you, Max? What's 2022 like?
Oh boy, we got Teenage Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space.
Fuck yeah, you do.
That's coming out at the beginning of next year. Then we've got Human Hunters issue number 2, Mary Machine Gun issue number 3, and then probably we'll just rotate and we'll have Teenage Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space issue 2, and then Human Hunters issue 3, and then Mary Machine Gun issue 4, and that'll be it for the year. We'll probably be doing an art book. Fernando will be doing an art book of just the Art of Atrocity Press that he's done. And
anthology.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to do is the Art of Niobe book, because I think we got enough imagery now that I can put one together. So I'm gonna look into that. We're also gonna do the trade paperback. Antarctic Press wants to do a trade, so it'll be like Birthright 1 and 2 and Origin, and we're just gonna slap that in a trade.
Yeah, once I get 4, the four issues is the end of the story arc for the Mary thing, but I think we'll end at 4 at the end of the year. And I haven't quite decided if if on issue 4, if I should just do like the floppy and then have like the trade as an add-on type of thing, because it's kind of like, because at that point any catch-up tier is going to be all 3 books.
Oh, you kickstart the trade and you give it a new cover too.
Yeah.
Variants.
That's right. Variants, Jim. I thought, Jim, I was a variant whore, right? Like someone said to me, you got 11 variants. Don't you think I got a problem? And I'm like, have you met Jim Noble?
Yeah, dude, it's a problem, man. Every campaign, I'm like, okay, well, this last Kickstarter we had 7 Steph Wilson covers, and this one we have 13. Next time we'll have 20.
Weren't you the man at one point had 69 variant covers for a single campaign? Or am I over exaggerating?
Yes.
No, that was about a year ago. But like since then, I've upped it. Like I'm starting with 96. Oh, by the way, speaking of variants and covers, I broke the add-on system on Kickstarter. You can't go over 100 add-ons. So I can't do 100 covers.
Jesus.
See, we really brought you here, Jim, for an intervention, man.
Right? We think you have a problem, James. We're here to talk to you.
I was talking to my buddy, and I said, I could put my book in Diamond tomorrow. I could do the totally rad cover gallery and do a pinup book every month for the next 3 years and never repeat myself because of how much art I have.
That's
You
crazy.
should be doing art books, Jim. I mean, God, think about it.
I really I next year I'm definitely going to start doing the totally rad cover galleries because we have a perfect binder at the printer, so I can make a bunch of trade paperbacks. It's
The
definitely
future is bright for this young man.
a lot
Coffee
of
table books, man. There you go.
And there's a lot of people that ask. They're like, do you have a cover gallery? And I'm like, well, I might as well at this point. It's like I could do a whole year of just cover galleries.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, I got a question. Well, like I've asked all these gents what their future plans are, but I never asked the host. Andrew, what happens with Pop Anime Comics in 2022?
Dun, dun, dun.
We're gearing up for a Kickstarter launching the podcast. I have a collab with somebody on a metal card that I can't go into too much details about it because we're finalizing the art. And then, we're just coming out swinging on January 1st.
You need merch. You need a blue shirt with the Pop Anime
shirts, man.
with the Pop Anime Comics logo on it.
Yes, we'll design it for you. Here's the thing. The complaint I got about our show was that we have too much inside baseball, which means inside jokes. For those that don't know, BSG is Andrew Davis. He is known as Blue Shirt Guy forever and ever. Okay, we have deemed him that on our show. So Andrew, you need to play the part now.
He's not even wearing a blue shirt.
I know. I'm disappointed.
We'll have like the Mecha Davis blue shirt club, man. You know, everybody get your Pop Anime.
I do have a
t-shirt
t-shirt out on Pro Wrestling Tees. I mean, it's not like I just don't advertise my
Well, that's
t-shirts.
the other thing. Merch is something I want to look into again. Like I had a contract with Pop Anime Gear for 3 years, and that contract ran out in October. So now I'm free and clear to just basically do what I want again without having just licensed through them. So I think Teespring is coming up real soon.
It's Teespring, Redbubble, and there's a lot of stuff.
I use T-shirt Gang, and it's like $12 a shirt.
I never heard of them. You send me their info.
Oh,
So on Pro Wrestling Tees, if you buy enough in bulk, it's like $6 a shirt. So if you buy like 25, it goes down to $6 a shirt.
yeah, I just let them print them on demand and ship
Well,
them out.
that'd be the
Stuff
ideal
to
thing.
it.
Here someone orders a shirt, it gets mailed out, they send me, my little cut of it, and great, I don't have to do any work. That sounds fantastic to me.
That's what I do on Redbubble with some of my shirts because I would rather make a little bit of money but not have to deal with fulfillment because fulfillment is a bitch. And I don't want to send out mugs. I don't want to send out, long shirts. I don't want to send out anything that they can print, and they do it. So stickers, Redbubble's got you. And I got a small piece of the action, but what do I care?
mouse
Because-
pads.
What?
Mouse pads. Could do
Sure,
mouse
we can go with mouse
too.
pads.
Yeah.
I like mouse pads. You should do them, Jim.
There you go, Jim.
Some of your characters.
Here's
Oh
Jim.
yeah, the mouse pads that have the extra.
Yeah, with the
you know,
tits
the
hanging out and shit.
that
Yeah.
you rest your wrist on, man. There you go, dude.
Like I'm surprised Jim doesn't have waifu pillows yet. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the pillowcase. You don't want to do the pillows because the pillows are too
Yeah,
expensive.
the
But
pillow is expensive.
He's working on that real doll deal, man.
Yeah, I was gonna tell Jim.
I've been doing shirts.
Tell Jim the story, man.
Yeah, the Max.
I
is
know what's
really-
coming up. Tell him.
I got a message on Twitter a few months ago, and the guy's like, "Hey, I really like your character, Mary Machine Gun. It's really cool." And I'm like, "All right, that's fine." He's like, "I live in Australia. Can I still order stuff?" And I'm like, "Yes, no problem." And then he drops, but this is before they stopped shipping to Australia. And then he drops this. He goes, "Do you care if I use your character as the basis for a real doll?" I'm like, no. Just send me a picture of it, but send it before it's used.
Oh
We're
my
still
God.
waiting for this picture to come in. By the way.
Still waiting on it because those things are like $4,000.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
We looked them up. and
He's
we
talking about
actually-
one of having those real life looking sex dolls. That's what you want to do
Yeah.
with Max's character.
What the fuck?
Can you imagine,
Oh my
Jim?
God.
What's the strangest request you've ever
Jim,
done?
you cannot be disgusted by that at all. Like,
I'm
there's no way
I'm
you
not,
can be
but I'm just
disgusted with
thinking
that.
like My God, how come that never happens to me?
That's what I said.
what-
It's like I'm surprised Jim's not working out a deal with the Real
Out of-
Doll Company,
Out
man.
of all the horror characters I've created, no one wants to fuck my characters. What the fuck?
Listen, there's a totally rad lineup coming up next year, ladies and gentlemen.
Now,
No
now,
one wants to
you
fuck
know,
your
you
characters
know,
because
you
you
know,
already did.
Oh yeah.
They
You
don't
don't want to
your
be
sloppy
right.
seconds, Jim. Come on.
Yeah, I have no shame. You know what's funny is like
They're
my
all
parents are
tainted
fully
now,
aware.
forever unclean.
My parents are fully aware of how I make my money, and they're just like, "Good for you, son." I'm like, "Thanks, mom and dad." I'm like, and then my dad's like, "I read your book. It only took me 5 minutes." I'm like, "That's not the point of the comic book, but okay." Like he's actually reading it for the story. I'm like, "Yeah, you just don't get it."
There's 4 pages of story here. There's 4 pages of story.
It's 4 pages of story, and then just a bunch of pinups of
Look,
chicks. Of
she says something here. She says,
Yeah.
that's dialogue.
Yeah, he read one of my
It was going downhill the second I invited everybody on. I keep doing it, and
What do you want to talk about, Andrew?
Well, yeah. What do you want to talk about, Andy, man?
no, I got nothing. I just want to self-promote myself. That's cool. We can talk about sex dolls instead. It's probably way more interesting than what I got. So I just think we should just, Jim, that this is your next Kickstarter. You just start creating that. I guarantee you that somebody would go and buy and pay like $10K for it. Easy.
No, you just make that like a really big reward, right? You can get
Yeah.
the real doll of, Roxy, and it's like $8,000 so that you can buy the doll and get all the clothes right and like the whole thing, and there you go. And
And then I
like
just
a
gotta figure it out.
reward.
I just got to figure it out if someone actually buys it.
Well, you don't have to do it if no one buys it. If
Yeah.
no one buys it, it's just there. You just
Yeah,
make a
someone
mock-up
buys it, I'm like,
image
oh,
like
fuck.
this is approximately what it would look like, and it's this much money. And if no one buys it, who cares? But at least it's there, right?
I'll just
What
go to
if
the
they
sex shop.
sold en masse? That'd be crazy, right, Jim? Like you're like the next iRobot, but with sex dolls,
You put it up. You put
Yo,
it up
I
there.
think it's
I
great.
got my totally rad doll and it tried to kill me last night.
You put the sex doll up on your Kickstarter, and people you're like, no one's gonna buy this thing at $10,000 a pop, and you end up with like 40,000 orders.
Yeah,
Shit, I got 50 orders, man.
It'll be
I'm like-
stretch goal tiers. Okay, for
This-
this much, we're gonna make an arm. For this much, we're gonna make a leg. For this,
I'll be the
You add
comic.
on
you just-
leather
no,
and
no, no.
leather
It-
lingerie.
You just make one. Then it's like an NFT, right? It's just one, and it's just that's it. One person has it, and that's it. And then you make
And
another
that-
character. And
Jim,
you make
it'll
another
be an
character.
NFT, non-fuckable token.
It comes with a certificate of authenticity.
That's
And
right,
the
signed by
Bitcoin.
James Noble himself.
It's a guarantee that I did not fuck this before sending it to you.
Guaranteed clean.
I had to test it out before we sent it out to you, but
Andrew,
wanna
now
make
we
sure
really
that-
have gone downhill. Aren't you proud?
It's all right. It's all right. I already know that I've gone downhill. I've gone downhill way before. I interviewed a porn star before, and that was a great interview. Talking about porn cryptocurrency. It was such
Right?
a fascinating conversation.
So do you guys ever get like weird messages of like guys who don't know that you're actually dudes thinking
yeah.
that you're the character?
It's happened a
Yeah.
couple of times, but not much because my pictures are on my Facebook. If they actually do the deep dive and look, I'm there. You know what I mean? But if they don't, yeah, it's happened a couple of times. And they're like, "Oh, you're a dude. Fuck that." Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, right. Like they're super nice to me. And they're like, "Oh, I want to buy all these books," and I'm like, "Cool, man." And then they're like, "Wait, like." Who are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm the president of Jimmy Noble, Totally Red Comics. And they're like, and they just disappear. Like they were hitting on me. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're called simps. We know what they are.
It's on the
It's
Totally Red
all right.
Comics.
I don't like people talking to my elf. Like that's the weirdest thing. I'm like, my elf isn't even that sexy. My elf is cute. Like what the fuck? Like my cute little elf up there. And like I get messages. They're going down there. What the fuck?
They're the Rule 34, man. It's already been fucked and torn up.
I was shocked. I was so shocked. It was horrific. I was like crying myself for like a week. I'm like, what the fuck's the matter with these people? Like, there's so many better things like this.
Whoa.
Welcome to the internet.
Listen,
Yeah.
there are
How come you don't show my
there are
stuff
women
like you show
cosplayers
his?
who like do sexy Powerpuff Girls.
Well,
You know,
Wednesday,
there was a
Addams.
cover that got banned from that, right? So like during the IDW.
Well, yeah, but that's different. That's a little different. I'm just talking about legitimately. There are grown women who do sexy Powerpuff Girl cosplay.
Yeah.
And
Well, there's
That
So
just seems a little odd.
it is
there's
odd.
like
It's very,
valid
and I don't care that they
sexy
do it.
cosplay.
Whatever, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah. I mean, we talked about it very early in the show. Anything can be turned sexy if you want to do it.
Oh yeah.
It's a matter of
Oh no, I'm not saying that
taste or whatever.
I was just like mortified because I just didn't even think about it. It's not like how I think about my logo and my outfit. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Well, we're
it
gonna make
shocked me
GSG sexy as
because
shit.
I was unaware and I was so blindsided by it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Here, I'm gonna show you the band Powerpuff Girl fucking cover.
Who did the art?
I'm sure it says somewhere, but yeah, there it is right there. So they were going to actually do this cover. Troy Little's the artist. He actually lives in Prince Edward Island, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump from me because that's how I knew about this. I don't think Troy's the one that drew this particular cover though. He was kind of like doing the insides. But yeah, this cover was going to come out, and much like the Milo Manera cover, Milo Manera's got passed through. This right after this was supposed to come. And because of what happened with Milo and stuff, that sort of started the chain reaction of, you know what I mean?
But it's not even like suggestive. Like they're just sitting on top of the guy's head.
No, but what it is
Jojo.
what it is though is they're still kids here,
Right?
And so they're kids in the latex costume.
Yeah.
So this again. So this is what I'm saying. This is completely different from 20-year-old women doing whatever they want to do.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah,
But you
you're
have
right.
20-year-old women dressing up as little kids being sexually active.
Yeah. See, like,
It's I mean, I'm not saying that they don't cross paths. It's not it's a Venn diagram, but one is adult and one is not adult. So,
One's an illustration.
It's weird.
which
It's very
is
weird.
illegal. It's still illegal.
Well, I mean, if you look at the illustration, I guess you can say they're teens. I mean, I've seen teens wear worse shit in the mall, but
Yeah, I've seen teens dressed completely crazy. I'm like, really? Is that just like your swimming suit or your underpants? That's what you're wearing?
but yeah, that cover got banned.
Banned.
Now,
So
here's an example of what Tom would be more talking about, like where they look a little bit more adult. Here, share this one, BSG.
you gotta stop with
This one here, dude, just for life. Justice League cover here, like this Justice whatever cover. It's that's a little bit more acceptable than
They're clearly
Adult.
older and so on. Yeah.
Boom boom.
That's crazy. I'm pulling up Mountain Olympus's Powerpuff Girl cover because that thing was awesome in a lot of ways. If I can find it, because that's all. I don't know if you guys know that book that I'm talking about. That Mountain Olympus did with Powerpuff Girls.
No, I watch the TV show occasionally, but I never read the comics or anything.
So they did like a whole spin on it, and it's an awesome, awesome cover. It was just pricey, and I'm trying to find it because it's a really cool cover. But again, it makes everything sexy.
Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo.
Sexy
Mojo
Mojo
Rising.
Jojo. Sexy Mojo Jojo.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
You don't know the Powerpuff Girls?
Powerpuff Girls?
You don't
What?
know what they are?
He just gave us that blank Simpsons fish
Yeah,
eyes
he's
look.
like deer in the headlights, like, I don't know what's going on.
It's all good. I don't know half the stuff that's going on either, and it's my show, so you're in good company.
Welcome back.
It's a cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Powerpuff
It's an old
Girls.
cartoon now.
Powerpuff
Like
Girls was
Well,
on
how old are we talking? Like, are we talking like 90s? Are we
Talking like late 90s.
yeah,
Late
late 90s? How did I not do this?
on Cartoon
Wait,
Network.
hold on. Now I
Late
got to
90s, around 2000. Yeah.
you don't know the fucking power. They were great. It was the most hilarious thing to watch.
It was like,
It was like
Powerpuff
these three
Girls,
little
Dexter's
girls.
Lab.
Holy fuck, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember these. This was on
Right?
Cartoon Network.
It
Yeah,
sure
okay.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't watch the show.
Oh god, it was funny.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a girl show. So I never watched it.
It was, but I mean, they were so badass, especially like Bubbles, man. Like fuck, and she would just freak out and like rage all the time and smash shit up. Like it was great.
It was definitely marketed towards females, but the show was pretty funny, so it was worth watching. Especially Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo.
Oh man, it's
Kind
I
of
love
has this
it.
mum raw thing going on for him.
So awkwardly
Andrew,
silent.
too much dead air.
I'm trying. I can't do much here.
Yeah, you got to keep the show rolling, brother. You got to keep the flow going.
Rolling.
So.
Doggies rolling.
Susu Studio.
Right.
What is this, Phil Collins hour?
That's what I was wondering, man.
What?
That's why you need bed music.
He's like, Phil Collins. Who's Phil Collins, man?
Phil Collins is
You
like
got
Dave
Google
Grohl,
Phil
but for the
Collins
80s.
now? Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. Not near as cool as Dave Grohl, though, man.
Speaking of Dave Grohl has a movie coming out in February.
Really?
It's
What
a
is
Foo
it?
Fighters horror movie.
What is it?
It's called something 666. Hold on. It's a Foo Fighters movie. Comes out February, and it's to promote their new album. And they're at a haunted house. It's like Scooby Doo and Night of the Living Dead combined.
They've done a bunch of cool stuff, the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters. And I did not know that, but I just read.
I don't think Dave Grohl doesn't touch anything that's not cool, man. I mean,
Studio 666 coming February 2022.
If Dave Grohl would grow a beard, he'd look just like the drummer from Nirvana.
Right?
So it's actually super cool. It's coming out with the Foo Fighters. They did a concert, I think almost like 18 months ago, that was recorded, but it never aired. And they're actually playing it on New Year's, like December 31st. And then they're playing an encore thing of it. And I don't know exactly where it's going to be streamed or aired or whatnot, but it's kind of cool because the Foo Fighters were one of the first bands to do a concert, sort of, when we were getting out of the COVID era. And I think they did it like in like Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be a really cool thing to see. And then obviously Dave Grohl's book just came out, and I mean, I'm super stoked for it. So I did not know that
So
he did.
I live in Kansas City, which is close to the Westboro Baptist Church's headquarters in Topeka.
oh, yay.
So the Foo
Where's
Fighters,
this gonna go?
Well, he's going to say how much they love Mary Machine Gun.
the Foo Fighters played a show here at the big amphitheater. It was called the Sprint Center at the time, but now it's the T-Mobile Center. So they played the thing there, and they had the church, the Westboro Baptist people were outside doing their little protest thing. And so the Foo Fighters put themselves on a flatbed trailer, and with the generator and everything, and they pulled around and parked in front of the Westboro Baptist Church people and played 3 songs. They put on their own little show personally for the Westboro Baptist Church people. And I was like, that is fucking hilarious.
What songs did they play? Were it's just random?
I don't remember what the songs they were. It was a long time ago.
Should have played All My Life. That would have been good. That's all about oral.
Kevin Smith used to mess with them a lot too, because they were always protesting anything he did.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what's funny too? Like there was an interview of Dave Grohl, and like whoever was interviewing Dave Grohl, they're like, yeah, this song, like, it means this, it means that, and like, this song was like the song to my like childhood or teenagehood, whatever. And then Dave just goes, no, like, the way I wrote it was just because the lyrics rhymed is why I wrote it that way. It's not, there's no hidden message there of what it's about. And like the interviewer was just crushed, like, what do you mean? It's not about this. He's like, nah.
You ruined my life. You just stole my
favorite thing
childhood.
that against the whatever that church is, I can't even say it anymore. Wow, I'm so tired. It's been a long day. Starting out at 8 a.m. by fainting. Clearly, my day can only go up. But somebody during Pokemon Go, they were a gym, and so somebody beat them and put like a Jigglypuff as like the Pokemon to beat, and then they kept trying to beat the Jigglypuff and they couldn't do it. And so it's like the ultimate troll, where obviously they picked an LGBTQ friendly character in Pokemon to be like the gym that the Westminster Church couldn't beat. And I thought that was one of the funniest things
Pokemon
ever.
Go.
It's just
Isn't that
like-
the game where people walk out into traffic?
Yeah.
Not enough.
What's
Right?
What's this Pokemon thing you're talking about?
It's like everyone, they kept saying, like, people are walking into traffic playing Pokemon Go. And I'm like, well, it seems to be kind of a self-solving problem.
Darwinism at its best.
It's a Darwin thing. It's a Darwin thing. Yeah.
I like
Hey.
it. Funny.
Walking into open manholes. All that
Idiocracy.
Wait,
shit.
hold on.
It's not a movie. It's a documentary.
Wait, so there's a Pokemon that's an LGBT thing? That's a thing?
So
Are we-
it's supposedly like it might have been like Jinx or something. I don't even know, but like it's well known in the community, and this guy purposely like leveled it up, tackled the gym, and then made it like defending the gym just to troll them. And I think he like put like $500 or $600 worth of like things into it just to troll them, and they just couldn't beat it. I thought it was one of the funniest things. It's just like it's a fuck you, and I like when people troll people. I think it's funny.
There's a
No
house
wonder you
over
watch
by
our
the
show.
There's a house over by the church, the main church, and someone bought it and painted it rainbow. The whole house is painted rainbow right outside their church, and they hate it.
They don't like colors? Oh, that's right, because the rainbow's a...
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Welcome back, Jim.
Well, I now know that we just basically made Jim's next Kickstarter. He's gonna make breast mouse plates of his characters.
Yep.
He's gonna do pillows. He's
gonna
gonna do a
have the
sex.
blow up doll line. That's gonna be huge.
Totally rad blow-up dolls.
That's right.
There you go.
Sex dolls.
Or I could do like what's those things that all the porn stars endorse now? The fucking the flashlight.
Oh,
Flashlight.
you want the old custom pussy flashlight thing? Yeah.
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 Oh, dude, I could do a clown one where it's just like you push a button and shoots confetti, or like a party blower like rolls out like
You win.
Every time you thrust it, the air pressure will push out the little
Wing, wing, wing.
you could it comes up like a miniature, like you remember like when you go to the carnival and you take that hammer and you hit it and the little thing goes up like you're doing great, and like to hit the bell at the top, so it has like one of those connected to it.
Downhill, Andrew.
Oh no! We're already in the gutter. We're in the swamp. We can't go any lower. We can only.
This is why you got to have a bullet
Don't
point
bet
sheet
on that,
for
brother.
your show.
Bullet
Like here,
points.
here.
See, but that's how I do in my interviews. I have a bullet point in my interview, but clearly this is just a free for all, and it's the Wild West, and I knew Larry was going to show up, so he's going to.
Well, initially I wasn't, right. I was gonna go, like, I have to go decorate a Christmas tree. I was gonna watch some Cobra Kai. I was gonna do some live gaming later, but I did click on. And I saw, well, fuck, Jim's here, Tom's here, Max here. Yeah, I'm fucking jumping in on.
I was going to say, you're like, I gotta go set up a Christmas tree. Oh, I'm going live.
I'm lucky because I'm Jewish, so I don't have that problem.
Oh my god!
I mean,
I don't know why I'm
you
laughing,
had
but
all the right
I'm not
people,
Jewish,
so I'm
and
like,
I don't have that problem.
It's
Tom
a chosen
Trump
puts
problem.
Mike Barron on as well. You know, again,
Tom
old
puts up
school
a
guy of this
Festivus
business. You know,
Tom just uses a Festivus pole.
I also have a Festivus pole in my
Well,
house too, but it's not
Tom didn't even bring up
Festivus.
a big major thing he's doing, which is Bad Kitty with Dynamite Comics. You know
I've
what
got
I'm
my
saying?
list of grievances set up for my Festivus poll. Man.
You know, there's actually a Festivus game where you actually write down your grievances and attach it. It's like a sticky note. You attach it to the person.
So is there wrestling involved at the end of it too? Or
There's
Feats
a
of
feats of strength, and like you have to decide what the feats of strength is. Like, last year we got it, and it was just like it was like a one-time thing. We didn't want to play it again after that because it was like, I'm tired of your bullshit.
Screw you, Cal.
Well, I do have to drop something serious. I am actually running a charity right now, and it's called the Human Fund. So I expect all of you to donate.
Screw
See,
you,
there's
man.
people that don't get that joke, and that
Do we
makes
send the
me
check right to you? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Fucking sounds like Mike fucking Wheeler's fucking crowdfunder. Damn.
He is,
Oh,
bro.
damn.
You know, I saw him post the other day in one of the indie groups, and I was really confused. I'm like, that can't be the same guy. No, he's
Well,
back.
there are
but
two Mike
Are you
Wheelers
sure?
out
Because
there.
there is a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
one that's
there's-
in
No,
comics
it
that
was-
has nothing to do with it.
It was the Mike Wheeler because like I did the stalking thing where I clicked his profile picture.
Yeah,
And
okay. Well,
I
if you
cycled
see a
through
bunch
it.
of like pro-Trump Republican shit, then that's
Well,
gonna be-
I saw a picture of him and Mindy, and I was like, okay, that's the Mike Wheeler.
So what's he saying? What's the gossip then?
He wasn't it wasn't like there was nothing negative or anything. He was just sharing out people's Indiegogos or whatever. I guess buddies of his.
So he's just trying to get noticed again a little bit. I got you.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think he's just trying to make new friends of people who don't know who he is.
No, I'll always remind them. Mike, what do you think?
Say, I stick to it, man. If you have 200 backers on Kickstarter, you're irrelevant.
For the
I
end
love
of
how
time.
you have that as a drop. Like you have like a soundboard with that.
Oh, I do, Jim. Let me show you how it works.
He's got a soundboard, man.
Of course, he's got a soundboard.
Yeah, it's right here. This
Oh
is
my
called
God.
the Elgato Stream Deck, and it's pre-programmed with a whole bunch of shit.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. Folders on folders of voice clips that I run through the show, and this is like only 1/10 of what this thing can do. It can actually bring up images. It can switch to my scenes in OBS. It can I can bring up like all the common websites and programs I use, just a click of a button right there. You know what I mean? It's a
Wow.
fantastic little gadget, man.
But he doesn't ever use it.
I never really use it when it's
No,
supposed to.
never.
Right now, it's a glorified soundboard. You know what I mean?
So I don't know anything that Mike Wheeler has done. I know Mindy, and Mindy's been on my show twice, and I don't know anything that she's been up to in the last like 3 years, or even with Mike, and
Well, I'll tell you something about Mindy. She's a good artist.
She's
you
a
know?
good artist, man.
She is a good
Yeah.
artist, but I
She's
mean,
not
the thing
bad.
is that they try to run in like their own sort of crowdfunder, Andrew, and it just got
I know.
sketchier and sketchier as it sort of went on. You know what I mean? And to the
I
point where they
interviewed
just
her
shut
about
it
it.
down.
Well, and not very good at PR whatsoever.
Yeah, when you go ahead and just cut out your entire, basically like your 90% of what your customer base is going to be by saying if you've got less than 200 backers on Kickstarter, you're irrelevant.
Well, when you have a book and you have 11 backers and the money raised is $10,000,
Yeah.
but when you
Yeah.
had 9 backers and you only had $300, you mean to tell me that 2 people pledged $5,000 each?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the claim was that there was like a comic book store in Las Vegas that ordered 1,000 copies of this book called Boobs, which
Boobs.
only had a cover or two and like no interior pages. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? No comic book store even orders 1,000 copies of Batman, let alone a fucking comic book no one's ever heard of called Boobs."
If you've seen pictures of the store, it's not a very big store at all either, man.
And so, we there's a group of indie comic book creators. So we're talking about this behind the scenes, Andrew. And I was the one that basically ended up pulling the plug on him. And I did a big fucking expose on it. And, we brought it to the forefront. And then he goes ahead and insults all the creators. Because, he had like 4 or 5 books on there. All of them got maybe 1 or 2 backers. Now, let's imagine that, let's say 200 backers, right? Was on his site. He would have been bragging about, look at this guy's on my site, he's got 200 backers, we're showing that we can compete. You know what I mean? That never happened. And the only thing that did go up was his own book, which he fudged the numbers for,
Oh yeah.
because he had, he was controlling the whole thing. He was also supposed to use Stripe as a payment method, and Stripe walked away from him. So then it all had to be sent to his PayPal directly, which means he would get all your funds, and then he would have to go ahead and distribute it to you himself. And I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah. And it also didn't help that the guy that they had marketing it was a kind of loony guy. What's his name?
Oh, we know who he is.
All right,
You know-
let's stop. This is 2 years ago. No one gives a shit anymore. The point is,
We
the
do when he
point
comes
is-
back, because if he
the
comes
point
back,
is-
I got to shut him down again.
the point is, well, but he's not. He's not
But-
doing anything. Worry about it when that happens. What I'm saying is the past was nonsense. But we've got to all. This is something I'm going to call you out, Jim. This is something that Jim and I talked about
It's not
a
Jim's fault.
few
I'm the
days
one that
ago.
talked
Just
about
I'm not
it.
calling him out bad, but this industry, and in particular, a lot of the indie crowd where we kind of exist, We tend to stay in this fucking box for a long fucking time with things. And we got to learn as an entire community to be like, okay, that shit happened. We've moved on from that shit.
Yeah.
Let's get into the new shit and let's focus on what's working and what's relevant and so on. You can only hang on to the past for so long in all concepts, in all aspects.
I mean, I'm a strong believer in.
Tom's not done his speech yet.
No, I mean, that was basically it. I mean, the point is yes, if something should come up again with Mike, if they're going to try and relaunch the crowdfunding thing again, we need to pay attention to it and make sure that it's not shady like it was. We need to pay attention to it. But until then, there's really nothing to talk about. We all kind of know what went down. It's all gone. It's all history. What are we doing
Andrew
now?
didn't, so I gave him an education.
Yeah, but again, it's not relevant for right now. You know what I mean?
So I knew a little bit about it because I interviewed Mindy when that thing was dropping, and we spoke about it briefly. But I didn't know the aftermath because I was like, you know what? If it's relevant, it'll come across my desk. If it's not, it won't. And I just interview people, and then sometimes I get lucky with something big coming down my pike, and sometimes things fade out. I made plenty of it.
It was a highway wreck. It was something to look at as you drove past.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe that was 2 years ago, man. Holy shit.
No, time flies.
Right.
So now we're at the
have to
end
be
of
aware of
2021. Now we're working into 2022. Cons are starting to come back. Everybody. We had a really actually a wild finale for Kickstarter the last part of the year, because for most of the year campaigns were running around 200, maybe 250 for a month, and then all of a sudden in October and November, like boom, holy shit, it was like over 300 for like almost 2 months. I wasn't prepared for that, to see that at all. So I'm kind of curious as to why that happened, why it was such a spike, and then it fell right off. You got into the end of November and into December.
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it took all year for people to make their books. Two, the other reason was there was a lot of guys who were strictly using Indiegogo that really saw that there was more money and eyes on Kickstarter, and a lot of these guys made the jump.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably.
But October is the weird choice. Like the summertime, I could have understood it, but like October and November, like 2 months, October and November, that's odd. Because last year it was the other way. It was like 300 for the spring, summer into like September, and then it kind of fell off in October.
There was a lot of
this time it actually went whoosh up.
There was a lot of people rushing to get those campaigns out before Christmas, though, and that's why you saw that rush, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't want to run a campaign in December or January if my life depended on it.
That's why I was glad that they ran White Devil when they did. They hit right on the edge of that timeline.
So I was supposed to launch in November. Obviously, I was ill-prepared in a lot of ways. And going back to the drawing board, it's going to be 100 times better. And I'm actually glad, because the thing would have failed probably if I launched in November. And now I'm gearing up for January. I'm not thrilled about launching in January, but if I don't launch in January, it fucks up the year indefinitely. Which I would rather. January is better than December, I feel, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. January is lots of people go in January. January is a big Kickstarter period. Always is.
I won't touch January. My opinion is people are too busy paying off their Christmas bills in January.
February is a big month for Kickstarter. April's a big month for Kickstarter, and August are big months for Kickstarters that I've noticed just from the last couple of years. It just seems like a lot of people run campaigns at that time, especially February this year, February of this year, there were so many campaigns going on. Like everybody I knew was running a campaign in February.
But I wonder what the numbers are on the successful campaigns for certain periods of the year.
Right.
I mean, if I'm lucky, I'll be running in February. If not, it'll be really early March. Once we get a few pages done and the rest of the covers, boom, we're going,
I'm going to be launching something in comics, March, late, early April, which I got something coming down the pike. So obviously I'm running my, podcast stuff and this project in January. And then I'm running, more of a comic project March, April for a reason, because those I think are better months. And, I mean, it's just giving a little space between those two projects. So I don't, I guess, kill my backers and people who want to back me and support me and give them time to have, space so that they're not drowning in debt, for lack of a better word.
We'll be doing the book every other month next year.
I did the last 3 Kickstarters I did October, July, and March, and I did $30,000 each time.
Yeah, and then that's excellent, man. I mean, like when we ran, we finally got the 20 grand mark. You know what I mean? Like as I was saying, man, we're growing. Every one of these properties is growing. It's 2022 is only going to get better for every single person on this panel. Like and that's not just blowing smoke up our asses. I've watched every single one of your guys' campaigns, including my own, just grow, and grow.
Yeah, everything just keeps building. I've seen everything keep building since the beginning of last year, man.
I'm
and even in
especially
November
then.
or in October when we had that 300 plus campaigns, we had the second biggest campaign we've ever done with Oz. So even with the amount of Kickstarters that were going, we still had our second biggest ever.
You've got a pretty good like Big Dog Inc. fan base though.
Yeah,
that are pretty dedicated to the brand.
Yeah, I was looking at the backers I had on like my second campaign, which I did over basically 2 years ago now. And I was like looking at it was like 148 backers, and I was looking at that. I'm gonna go, man, I wish I had 148 backers. The fucking fulfillment was great then,
right? I'll tell you, with Tom's base, right, Max? Like for me, when I discovered Critter before, like Tom was running Kickstarter. Like I discovered it like when it was like Aspen Comics sort of stuff. You know what I mean? On the shelf, and that's where a lot of that fan base actually comes from. It's like, oh, I've seen this before. I used to collect this back in the day, or whatever, and I, what I mean? They don't get it in shops anymore. So now you would have those people, who like, the Big Dog Aspen comics sort of books back in that time. Sherazade would be another one of them, right? Come into Kickstarter to find that stuff,
Yep.
I mean, that's the hope, but we're still, I mean, back in the day when we were in comic shops, we would sell between 3,000 to 5,000 units. So we don't have 3,000 to 5,000 people backing Kickstarters, but
for sure.
But there's growth there. We keep seeing more people come in, and
But I mean, like that's why I backed your first Kickstarter, because I saw your book in comic shops. Like, oh, I remember this. I had this, and that what led me there. So if it's leading me there, it's going to lead other people. I mean, like you said, it's not going to be everyone that bought the book at the shop. But I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that bought the book at the shop that don't even know you're out there doing Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. That's kind of the only reason I kind of keep doing the shows that I do, is to kind of reconnect with some of those folks that I've lost track of, that have lost track of me, and to kind of corral them back in. Like, yo, we're still here, man. We haven't gone anywhere. We're just doing it a little bit differently.
And this comes to like when people say like, why do you want to be in shops so bad? You're not going to sell that much. We did 1,000 copies, which isn't much, right, in the grand scheme of things. But I'm like, listen, if people who never saw the Niobe Kickstarter goes into a comic shop and buys an Antarctic Press Niobe book, and there's a Kickstarter ad in that book, for our next time, right? That's going to be people that potentially would never scour social media for these Kickstarters. They're just guys that go into the comic shop and buy a book, and next thing you know, they're seeing a big, back cover ad for my next Kickstarter. That's going to be fucking cool. That's going to bring in more people. Right. It will.
Sure.
I was going to say we're seeing
just
growth.
Having 1,000 people looking at your product. I mean, 1,000 eyes on is way more than you've got through your Kickstarter.
Sure. And then listen, Tom doing Bad Kitty with Dynamite, right? People are going to go, Dynamite fans, Bad Kitty fans are going to go buy Tom's work. They're going to see Tom's name or CBZ name or both right at the top of that book. They're going to go, man, I like this guy's writing. I love this guy's art. And then all of a sudden now they become fans of the creators, and then in turn go buy their own work as a,
it brings
on top of buying the Bad Kitty.
Now we've seen growth in
I mean, look at that.
Crowdfunding campaigns. Are we seeing the same amount of equal growth of indies on shelves? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you guys that would know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Comics has done crowdfunded comic books. AP is doing crowdfunded comic books. You got IDW and Boom who are starting to dabble in that idea as well. Absolutely, man. More and more of these. Second Sight Publishing does some crowdfunded books. That are hitting the shelves. So they're all these smaller companies, but they're all on the shelf.
You have companies like Behemoth or Belmont. I forget the name
Yeah,
of it.
Behemoth with Kevin Perront there. Yeah, that's right.
And so they're getting into it, and obviously there's a lot of stuff. And obviously, I mean, Scout is a big one that does all this stuff. So I mean, it's clear that people are picking up off of indie. And obviously, I mean, Tom, you got that big project coming with Bad Kitty, and that's going to be very interesting and very exciting. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that in the new year and when you have more information on it. But
Yeah, CB just sent me a shitload of pages too. I haven't even looked at them yet.
That's because you were too busy watching Generation.
But, yeah, that again.
That's because I got sick yesterday watching
that book
Spider-Man.
again put Tom right on the big map. Dynamite Comics is maybe is fairly large, in the sense of like as it compares to Marvel, DC, and Image. I mean, if you're looking at the smaller publishers, Dynamite Comics would have to be right up the top for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
with Red Sonja, with Vampirilla,
a ton of shit,
right? And so Tom is now once again going to have his name circulated in comic book shops, potentially with Bad Kitty. I know it's starting off as a crowdfunder, but I definitely see it, probably hitting the shelves. You know what I mean? I see it.
I'm sure.
And also Dynamite is bringing back stuff. I mean, they just brought back Evil Ernie and a bunch of other stuff, and they're bringing. I can't speak. Excuse me. Scott Lobdell is in Dynamite at this point, so you have a lot of the old guard in ways are coming into Dynamite, and you got the new guard as well. And it's a very cool place to be as a company right now.
Well, one of the things about Dynamite is that they're not afraid to still do sexy, right? A lot of the big two are afraid to do sexy. You got Zenoscope and Dynamite out there that still kind of do it. You know what I mean? And let's face it. Some people like that nice, sexy cheesecake artwork, and it's going to sell. It will.
It'll sell for sure. Sex sells all the time.
And as long as you provide something good to go with it, right? You know what I mean? They see a pretty cover, they open up and they read a badass story. Boom, boom. Like.
And also, Dynamite and Zenoscope is a good example where they also do just regular covers. So they're hitting also the niche that says, look, I just want a cool cover that's not extremely provocative. And that's the other thing that I think is really smart as well, is that they're not saying we're just bad girl art. You can get a regular cover from Dynamite. They did a Peanuts, tribute type cover, with Dynamite and that entire line. And it was, Charlie Brown and the crew was on it. And that brought people in because it's kind of like, oh, that's a cool cover. But then you could get a really sexy cover too. And that's a cool thing when you get both sides of this. I think it's
they were doing that with their Barbarella runs too.
Yeah, I mean, you have lots of con exclusives, you have lots of store exclusives, you have lots of like AP wants to do like Niobe covers that are just sold on the AP website. You know what I mean? So you got that kind of stuff going on too, right? And people love to get some of these more rare exclusive covers. You know what I mean? Because low print runs, limits, all that sort of stuff.
It's very exciting, and I'm sure that me and Tom are going to speak, and I'm going to just say it now, and I'm going to put Tom slightly in a corner. Tom's coming on in January to talk about the Critter action figure and whatever else is going on. So you're locked in now.
Locked in. So I just sent you a share screen thing. If you want to share it, you can.
Let's have a look.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do gotta.
Boom!
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Nice.
So that's
you
gonna
got
be
a flake, Max. I got a flake too, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it on a high note. I'm gonna go out on a high note.
Go out on a high note.
I have to here in a few. I'm running over to Indie Comics Cast and do some live coloring.
Well, they too are
We're
doing.
going to wrap it up in a second, and I'm going to let everybody promote themselves.
Sure. I can wait that long.
Yeah, I gotta smoke cigarettes, but I can wait.
So, Tom, what are we looking at here?
So that's CB's cover. That'll be the basic A cover for the campaign with Chris Chua on colors.
I really like the contrast on that.
She's got an automatic weapon in one hand with the flashlight in the other. It's gonna be all whoa.
I like the lighting.
Yeah, I do too. I like the LED light on that thing, that real halogen lamp or whatever. It's cool looking. I like the lighting on the eyes of the guy in the background.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's wearing too much clothes.
Too much?
No clown makeup. 0 out of 0.
There's no clown makeup.
Whatever.
Yep. So that's we've kind of teased that a little bit, but that's the first official full view of the
World
the
premiere
cover
man.
there. So yeah,
World premiere.
there you go.
World premiere. World premiere.
So there you go.
So obviously we're gonna wrap up, and obviously I want to let everybody promote themselves. And so since we were just on Tom, I'm gonna let you go first, Tom. Where can people find you? What you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, so
Christmas.
Facebook is where we live, basically. I'm always on Facebook. You can friend me up there. There's a Big Dog Inc. fan page. You're welcome to join that. I also do live shows on the Comic Book Shopping Network on Facebook. So join the Comic Book Shopping Network, CBSN.
Bring your wallet because you will spend lots of money.
Sure, yeah. And then Twitter and Instagram are both BDI Comics. So if you guys do the Instagram or the Twitter, that's where we are there. And then I've got a Patreon that's running right now as well. We've got 36 people hanging out with us every month. So patreon.com/Big Dog Inc. And we do that too. So yeah.
And what about you, Max? Where can people find you and support what you're doing and all that fun stuff?
I'm Max DeVille. I operate Atrocity Press. You can find us at atrocitypress.com. That's our online store. Or you can just find us at Atrocity Press on Facebook or at Mary Machine Gun on any of the other social medias, or Facebook too, because we started off with Mary Machine Gun and then Atrocity Press was born out of it.
And what about you, Phil?
Phil Leon. I'm mainly a colorist, but I do a little bit of AD work and editorial pre-press stuff. Right now I'm working on issue 2 of White Devil over at Silverline.
White Devil.
Yeah, there you go. At Silverline Comics. What's that?
You said doo-doo.
Doo-doo. Yeah. But White Devil from Silverline Comics. I'm working on a couple pages for one of the short anthology stories for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, Orange Cone Comics. Got a few other projects in the works. A little bit of something that working on over at Max's thing with that's going to be fun. And
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you need me for color, look for me for you need some color work, covers or sequentials or
color my tits,
pinups, whatever. Yeah, I'll color. I'll put some electric crayons on some boobs. But yeah, so yeah, you can find me at Phil Leon over at Facebook's an easy way to get a hold of me. Philman X on about any social media, either Philman X or Phil Leon, and you'll find me, man. No problem.
And what about you, Larry? Where can people go find you?
Yeah, it's Niobe Comics. Like you type in Niobe Comics on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. I mean, you're gonna land us. I mean, just keep an eye out for our Kickstarters coming up. Outbreak #1 is going to be our biggest thing. The holiday special will also be a thing, and then whatever we can pump out through Antarctic Press to land on the shelf. So it's always going to be a few months later than whatever we do on Kickstarter, but eventually it will end up there. But the answer to the question, why should we back your stuff then if it's just going to be on the shelf? Because we're going to do special things with that stuff on the shelf, like different covers and, things of that nature and incentives you only get on Kickstarter. So there's a reason, no matter where you buy your Niobe, just go buy your Niobe. There you go.
Just do it.
Jim,
Just do
people
it.
go and buy your porn books.
Right?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Totally Rad Comics, from everything. From sexy ladies in the 80s to topless cave women and sexy clowns. You name it, I got it. You want it, I can give it to you. Right here. Totally Rad Comics. Jimmy Noble. I got Keith Garvey. I got Christmas stuff. I got more Christmas stuff. Anything you want. Tits, ass, big veiny dicks. I got it. I'm your guy.
The TNA would be proud
I
of
just love how there's no shame with it at all, right?
Hey, I know what I'm about, man. I'm about making money.
Hey,
Right?
Hey, you know what it is?
Embrace that shit.
Sales mean everything. That's all it means, is that if you're selling, that's what counts. So
if
on
you
that
use
note,
the promo code
Jim's got to
Rad
work this
Season,
on.
get 25% off my web store. Rad Season, TotallyRadComicsLLC.com. Rad Season.
I'll tell you, how I really learned about Jim was like he had Dan Mendoza covers. I'm like, oh fuck, I want that. You know what I mean? Like,
Hell yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff up on your website. So go buy shit, everybody who sees this. Just spend money, go into debt, read some comics, and you'll enjoy yourself one way or another. I'm going to leave it at that. My name's Andrew Davis, for all those who are curious. Obviously, I'm going to promote myself. I run popanimecomics.com, where I write about anime, comics, pop culture, wrestling. I also run this show, which is an interview-based show that is not as freestyle as this and is a little bit above the swamp that we're all in, because clearly we just went down into it.
Neck
We
deep here, brother.
can only go up from here. But I have a Kickstarter dropping under the banner of Conversations in Pop Culture, probably January 1st or 2nd. Really cool stuff's coming out. I have a metal card collab with a really cool cosplayer that is going to be extremely limited. So if you're into metal cards and things like that, I recommend you go check that out, because it's a cool thing. And I just appreciate everybody wants to support me and really likes this stuff and likes the interviews that I do. And Merry Christmas, everybody. And so on that,
Thank you, man.
And happy Hanukkah.
Booyah.
And a happy Kwanzaa to you.
Yeah.
Yuletide and all the good stuff, man.
Whatever else there is, some sort of holiday.
Happy birthday.
Whatever pagan holiday, it's all good.
on that note, before we all get in trouble, which is not going to happen.
You don't think we haven't already been canceled, Andrew?
I've been canceled twice. And once you get canceled, so it's a double negative, which means it's a positive. So you get canceled twice, you made it big. So there we go. So on
Happy
that
birthday, Jesus. I'm sorry your party sucks so bad. In the office?
Well, I can't top that. So on that note,
Well, look, Andrew, just leave, but let the stream run so Jim and Tom can run it for another 5 hours.
We got
We
this.
got this.
We got this. We're fine.
All right, those movie guys coming up next.
Right?
Out here.
Poor Demon Phil, man.
We're going to talk Spider-Man for the next 3 hours.
I am so tempted to actually see what happens.
It happened. So like Phil Lockyer did it, right? So like they were doing like an unscripted show, and then like he thought he was logged off, and guess what? The stream still ran, and I was stuck at work, and I watched these guys for 5 hours just go on and on and on.
We literally only turned it off because my phone was about to die.
Yeah, it was, and that spawned the whole bunch of shows that Tom and I did after that, man. And we're still doing them. We're still doing those movie guys. We're getting like actual like movie directors and actors and actresses on it. It's crazy.
Nice.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to end this stream because I don't
Sure
want
you
to
do.
do Spider-Man. I know everybody wants to ruin Spider-Man, and you should have just did that instead for the
He's
2
Peter
hours.
Parker, and we're out.
Look, this is probably gonna be your highest rated show, Andrew.
And on that note, I am ending the stream. Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas and
Peace
Happy
out,
New
brother.
Year, and go buy comics.
Bye-bye.
birthday.